Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can see in the picture today, let's start the story of fourth part of a story where Issei was trained by the dragon gods and became the true dragon god of chaos. But before we start, please consider subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Don't forget to check the description for more informations. Also, this is a translate version. You may find some mistakes, specifically in the character's gender. Issei of course is a male, Valley also is a male. Also, I've changed the voice for now. I'm having some issues and bugs with voice I was using. Until it's fixed, I'll use this one. And if you guys enjoyed this voice, I'll keep using it, who knows. Well, with that out, let's get into part 4. On a beautiful night, you can see a blonde man and a black-haired woman walking, talking about trivial topics. This was Hayate Issei, or better known as Sujiro Pendragon. And next to him was a beautiful woman identified as Subaki Shinra. Well, how about we go to dinner, the blonde said, to which the black-haired woman nodded a little nervously since she didn't know how to behave because she has never had a date. Don't worry, you don't have to be so rigid, you just have to be yourself and enjoy the night, the blonde recommended when he saw the black-haired girl who was very nervous. I just don't know how to behave in these circumstances since I've never had a date. I think I could ruin it or embarrass you. The black-haired woman declared, embarrassed and a little sad. The blonde stopped immediately as they were passing through a beautiful park in one of the cities in Japan, and he stood in front of the black-haired girl who became nervous at the sudden act. Listen to me, was the only thing the blonde said in a firm voice, to which the black-haired woman shuddered at the tone of his voice. You are a beautiful and charming woman, no one can deny that, the blonde said with a smile. The black-haired woman blushed a lot when she heard him because when she heard him she could notice the affection in the words, and the blonde's smile made her blush even more. You will never embarrass me and I will never feel ashamed of having you by my side, said the blonde, to which the black-haired woman blushed so much that her entire face was red, but she had a smile on her face that did not go unnoticed by the blonde thinking, which looked lovely. The black-haired woman was really happy that the blonde thought that way about her. I like seeing you more with that smile on your face that makes you look charming than with that sad look that you had before, so please don't change it, it makes me happy to see you smile, said the black-haired man, making sure that the black-haired girl made every effort not to fainting from the shame he had upon hearing the blonde's words, although a big smile formed on his face because of how happy he was. Well, that's how I like it, what do you think if we leave now? Commented the blonde when he saw the black-haired woman had a smile, and when she heard the recommendation, she gladly accepted since she wanted to spend as much time as possible with him. When they arrived at the restaurant, they went to their table, which had a beautiful view of the entire beautiful night city that was bathed in its lights, making the view wonderful. What a beautiful view, said the black-haired woman in amazement at the view she had. But there is something more beautiful than the view, the blonde said calmly, drawing the attention of the black-haired woman who sees him again. What is it? The black-haired girl asked with interest. Well, I'm seeing her right now, the blonde said with a smile, while he didn't take his eyes off her, and when she understood, she blushed furiously. 20. The blonde, seeing her that way, only smiles when he sees her, just as he liked to see her blushing, and even more so knowing that she is so serious in everything she does. On the part of the black-haired girl, she was very nervous. She didn't know how the blonde could put her that way, how every word he said affected her so much, and mainly she didn't know how the blonde passed his defense that way. After that conversation, they prepared to order and have dinner in a calm manner while they talked about trivial topics and enjoyed each other's company, mainly the black-haired woman who since the brunette left has always felt alone, at least until now, since the blonde for some reason he reminded her of her Issei, making her feel calm and comfortable with his presence. After dinner they went for a walk through a beautiful park that was nearby. The atmosphere had a comfortable silence, just enjoying each other's company. Thank you was the only thing the black-haired woman said, to which the blonde looked at her in a way he didn't understand. Thank you for this wonderful date. I'm really enjoying it, the black-haired woman said with a small smile that didn't go unnoticed by the blonde, who only smiled. Sorry if I take up your time. The black-haired woman apologized, to which the blonde sighed because of that way of insecurity that Queen Citri had. He thought it was due to the emotional damage that the blonde Gremory caused, so the blonde thought of a way to return to her that confidence that the black-haired woman had before. You know you don't have to apologize, the blonde said, standing in front of the black-haired girl. You are a wonderful woman. You are beautiful and beautiful. You don't have to apologize to me for anything since being with a woman like you is more like a gift. The blonde said calmly, to which the black-haired woman blushed at his words. And even more so when it embarrasses you the way you are now, it makes you look really charming. I praised the blonde, to which the black-haired woman is more embarrassed as her blush increases. My Subaki-san, I know that you feel insecure because of the experience you went through with the Gremry Knight, the blonde said as he got closer to her, who tensed when the Gremry Knight was mentioned. I know it was hard for you, and even more so because it was your first love, the blonde said, being closer to the black-haired girl, who tensed up much more because of the blonde's words. Every word he said hurt his heart, and his eyes crystallized as he had to look at the ground. The blonde caressed her cheeks and made her look into his eyes. Seeing him, she was so surprised since he was looking at her with a love and affection that she had never experienced, and that made her heart beat faster and faster. Now I want you to listen to me and pay close attention to me because I want you to take my words very seriously, the blonde said as he approached the lips of the black-haired woman who, upon realizing it, also approached his. You are a very beautiful and sexy woman, the blonde said while his lips barely touched those of the black-haired girl that the little Rose also felt. Your beautiful face and beautiful body, without saying that your way of being, makes you a very charming woman, said the blonde while he kissed the black-haired woman again, but this time a little more. So please don't belittle yourself, since I like to see that woman who is sure and confident in herself that you are, said the blonde, lightly kissing the black-haired woman again, who was lost in the feeling of her lips as they touched her lips, of the blonde while her heart beat faster and faster for every word he said to her, making sure that she keeps each of those words to herself. So please don't cry and rather smile because it makes you look how beautiful you are, said the blonde, touching the black-haired girl's lips again. And it makes me realize how much I like you, the blonde finished saying, to which he immediately kissed the black-haired woman who did not object and rather hugged him by the neck while tears came out of her eyes. But these were from happiness for the beautiful words that the blonde had told him that touched his heart. When the blonde sees her, he hugs her by the waist, bringing her closer to him and enjoying the contact of their bodies. The kiss was calm but passionate. Neither of them wanted to move away from the other, so that the black-haired woman held him tighter in her embrace, and so that the blonde hugged her closer to him. But after a few seconds they had to separate to take a breath so that each one sees each other's eyes. When the blonde saw her, he couldn't believe how beautiful she looked. That was where he became even more convinced that Subaki was a very beautiful woman with a beautiful face, her beautiful eyes and her beautiful smile. On the part of the black-haired girl, she felt strange. She didn't know what it was, not even when she was close to the blonde. Gremry felt that way. But being close to the blonde in front of her, she felt strange, as if nothing in the world mattered, only him, as if by being with him she can relax and calm down, as if he were going to take care of her and protect her from everything. And that was where for the first time the black-haired woman discovered what it feels like to be truly in love, what it feels like to completely trust a person who knows that he will take care of you and protect you no matter what. The black-haired woman kissed the blonde again, to which he did not refuse and returned the kiss, and the black-haired woman, seeing that the blonde did not reject her, became really happy, and that night the black-haired woman knew what love really is. After a kissing session in which the black-haired woman did not want to stop and the blonde gladly did not resist, rather he sometimes caressed the black-haired girl's body so that she let out light moans due to the blonde's caresses. Both of them separated and got ready to go home since it was very late. The black-haired woman was holding the blonde's arm, which did not bother him, rather he liked it since this way he could be closer to her. But that scene didn't last long since the black-haired woman remembered something again that made her return to harsh reality. Tell me something that's going to happen to me now, the black-haired girl asked in a somewhat sad way. What do you mean? The blonde asked, somewhat confused. Well, you have girlfriends, fiancés, even wives who will say about you when they know about me or when they see me, what they will say about me, the black-haired woman said sadly, thinking that she couldn't be with the blonde anymore. I think you're thinking about that a lot, the blonde said in a somewhat amused manner, to which the black-haired girl gave a confused expression. Do you really think that I would come on a date secretly from them? the blonde said to the black-haired woman who didn't know what to say since she thought maybe, yes, you don't have to think about that. Besides, I don't hide anything from them. In fact, they were the ones who told me to invite you on a date, and before going to see you, they wished me luck and that everything went well," said the blonde calmly, surprising the black-haired girl because of the girl's way of being. "Subaki-san, the fact that I have several girlfriends/fiancées/wives by my side does not mean that I do not love them or trust them. I love each of them equally but at the same time differently. For example, Fashion, she is my wife. I love her for the way she is so determined and affectionate. I love Kuroka, who is my girlfriend, for her way of being so playful and naughty. I love Kurumi, who is my fiancé, for her curiosity and her sincerity. Each one of them loved them and fully trusted them," the blonde finished saying, surprising the black-haired girl with such words, but it also made her heart beat strongly because she felt the love he has for them in each of the words. The black-haired woman wanted to feel that love. She wanted someone when they talked about her to speak in that same way, which expressed the love and affection that he has for her. For the first time in his entire life, Subaki Shinra was jealous of the blonde's women. He was jealous that they had someone who loved them so much, and mainly he was jealous of not being one of them. The blonde, as if he knew what the black-haired woman was thinking, decided to take the next step now that he believed it was the perfect moment. "Suchin," the blonde called the black-haired girl, who came to her senses and blushed because of the way he called her, but he also felt very happy. "Each one of them has trusted me with their whole heart, and I have given a piece of my heart to them. They happily accepted that piece of my heart because they knew that I cannot give everything because they are not going to be the only ones," he said. The blonde calmly minded what the black-haired woman paid a lot of attention to. "But despite knowing that they are not the only ones, they still accepted, and I happily accepted them because each one of them, I love them very much. So now I ask you the question that I once asked them," said the blonde, to which the black-haired woman felt her heart beating strongly. "Subaki Shinra, I cannot give you all my heart because there are other people important to me, but if you accept this piece of it, I promise to love you and protect you for all eternity, and make sure that you never need anything. So I ask you, I would like to be one of my girlfriends," the blonde said with all the love and affection that expressed his most sincere request, leaving the black-haired girl in a state of shock. The black-haired woman, after coming to her senses, was going to accept, but an image of a brunette came to her mind, and she stopped immediately. She didn't know why, but she felt as if she were betraying him. She loved him and could even say that she was in love with him because of the way he was with her, but she was also in love with the blonde who was in front of her. She didn't know what to do, although she didn't mind sharing the blonde since she knew his girls and knew that they could get along very well. But the image of Issei below does not accept that request because it feels bad for Issei, so I take one. The blonde remained silent, while he patiently waited for the black-haired girl's response. He really wanted her to accept and reveal who he was, but mainly it was because he didn't want anyone to be with her since he had fallen in love with her, and tonight he had realized it. Then he saw the black-haired woman who was looking at him with a serious look. "I want to tell you that I'm in love with you, so in this way I want to tell you that thank you for offering me a place at your side, but I can't accept," said the dark-haired woman sadly. It really hurt her to reject him, but she decided it was better to wait for the brunette, since she realized that her feelings for him were stronger than for the blonde. When the blonde heard the answer, he became quite depressed. He really wanted to see that smile every day, but it seems like he won't be able to. "I can know the reason, because if you say that you are in love with me but you don't agree to be with me, there must be a very important reason," said the blonde in a calm but also sad manner. "I sigh. It may sound crazy, but I'm also in love with another person, and it's not Yuto-san. It's another person I haven't seen in a long time. But I realized that when I was with him I'm really happy, and although I have a great time with you, I feel like I'm betraying him. For that reason I can't accept your request, because even though I'm in love with you, I'm even more in love with him." "Sorry," the black-haired girl finished saying, to which the blonde felt terrible since there was someone so important to the black-haired girl that caused the blonde's heart to hurt a lot. "I may know the name of the man so lucky to have you so in love?" the blonde asked calmly. "You already know him, or have met him," the black-haired woman commented, intriguing the blonde since he didn't know who he could be. "It's Issei," the black-haired girl finished saying when she saw that the blonde didn't know who she was. When the blonde heard that name, his eyes widened in great surprise and his heart began to beat, while a heat ran through his body knowing that a woman as wonderful as Subaki was so in love with him. The blonde, I was really happy, so happy that I wanted to kiss the black-haired girl. Can I ask you one last question? The blonde asked calmly, although inside he was really happy. The black-haired woman nodded and told him what her question was. Because you're in love with him? The blonde asked in a very curious way. Well, it may sound a little silly and childish, but Issei-san was always there when I needed him. He always fought for us all to be well. He sacrificed himself so that peace could reign, but more than anything it is because I always had a good time by his side. I answer, the black-haired woman with a smile, while the blonde only listened. By being with him, I could always be myself. He always made me smile, and although he was a pervert, he always made sure that everyone was well. I realized that I am in love with him when we spoke the last time on the balcony. Already that I realized that there was no better man in the world than him, and even though he is not here, I know that he is still alive, and one day I will see him again, and I hope that when that time comes I can tell him, I love you. I finished, the black-haired woman said with a smile while looking at the sky. She felt calm and happy as she got rid of everything that she had in her heart, mainly that word that had been holding her back so much. While the blonde was in a sea of thoughts, tears ran down his cheeks. He couldn't believe everything he had heard from the black-haired girl. His heart was happy but also sad, happy that she thinks that way about him and sad for everything that he made the black-haired girl pass. Wow, I never imagined I was so in love, Drake commented in the blonde's mind. Neither do I. It saddens me to know all the pain he has been enduring, the blonde commented in his mind. But that already happened. Now that you are here, it would be better that you do everything possible to make your females happy, Drake recommended in his mind to his friend. You're right, now that I'm here, I'll make sure they're never sad again, the blonde said with determination. With that determination, the blonde made a decision. I'm glad you think that way about my Suchin, heard the black-haired woman who had been watching the night sky while she was in her own thoughts. The black-haired woman, upon hearing what he said, saw him again with an expression that did not understand anything. The blonde smiled at the black-haired woman's expression, moved away from her a little and repeated it again. I'm glad you think that way about me, since I'm also in love with you, the blonde said. But the black-haired girl didn't understand. Then she saw how a magic circle formed around the blonde's head and lowered over him so that he could reveal his identity. True identity and his true aura. When the circle disappeared, the black-haired woman could see a brunette still with different colored eyes and the same suit that the blonde was wearing, but with a more refined body. The black-haired woman couldn't believe it who was in front of her. She blushed a lot when she was able to immediately identify him, since the brunette had changed for the better from what he was before, much better in Kuroka's words. His calm expression, his mature look, his handsome face, his well-built body, since I could see it in several places where his clothes were tight, making him blush even more. Issei really is you, said the black-haired woman with a blush on her face, still not believing that it really was him, and although his aura was the same she still couldn't believe it. That's right, I'm back to Chan and I'm back to meet. He couldn't finish as he was tackled by the black-haired woman who hugged him tightly while tears fell from her beautiful face. The brunette had almost fallen to the ground. He wraps her in his arms, giving her a big hug full of love and compression. The black-haired woman, feeling burned by the brunette, buries her head in his chest while hugging him tightly as if she wanted to tell him to never leave. Is it really you? Isn't it an illusion? Said the black-haired woman, very happy that the brown-haired man was really him and not an illusion of her mind or someone transformed into him. The only thing the brunette did was increase his aura a little and cover the black-haired girl with it so that when she felt it, she felt that peace and tranquility that she once felt a long time ago. It's really you, the black-haired woman confirmed while tears came out of her beautiful eyes. The brunette sees her like this and wipes her tears very delicately and then kisses the black-haired girl, making her surprised for a few seconds, but when she feels that the kiss was becoming more and more passionate, she lets herself be carried away by the sensation, leaving the brunette to do it, whatever I wanted. After a few minutes of very, very passionate kisses, The brunette stops kissing the black-haired girl, leaving her with a big blush and wanting more. The black-haired woman realized her state but was not wise as the brunette did to leave her that way with just a few kisses, and she even thought that if she continued like this they would end up doing something else, although in her words it was not going to bother her, since he is the person she loves and he loves her too. But her blush intensified when she realized what she said recently about him. The color rose in her face as her embarrassment reached its peak, since it could be said that she had proposed to him. Note: although Subaki is 27 years old, I think, or 28 around there, she has never experienced that. The closest thing was with Kiba, but she never reached that level, and with Issei. But it was when they were teenagers and she still didn't know she was in love of Issei. The brunette, seeing her like this, couldn't help but smile because seeing the black-haired girl in that state made her look extremely cute, and, unable to resist, he kissed the black-haired girl again, and she didn't resist. I imagine you are like this because of what you told me recently, right? The brown-haired man wanted to confirm what the black-haired woman was more ashamed of when she was discovered wishing that the earth would swallow her. The brunette smiled again, leaving the black-haired woman perplexed by the action. Don't worry, because seeing you like this makes you look extremely pretty. And as I said before, I'm also in love with you, and I would like to know, now that you know who I am. Would you like to be my girlfriend? I would really love to be able to see that beautiful smile that you have every day, said the brunette, moving away from her a little, leaving the black-haired girl still very blushing from the brunette's words but also happy. She didn't even have to think about it. Being in love with two men who she thought were different but turned out to be the same person was something she never imagined, but she was also happy because that way her heart never betrayed her by falling in love with another man, but instead that she fell in love with him again. Yes, Issei-kun, I would love to be your girlfriend and be by your side for the rest of my life, said the black-haired woman with a beautiful smile, leaving the brunette extremely happy and very in love, since that was the smile he liked so much. The couple stayed in the park where they were for a few more moments to talk about some things outside the topic of how they managed to get out, since the brunette told them that he would explain more calmly later. But Issei-kun, if you came back because you didn't reveal your true identity, you should already know that there are many people who are waiting for you, mainly Serafall-sama, the black-haired woman asked with great curiosity. Although the image of her king also came to her, since lately she has realized that she is thinking a lot about the brunette, and that she was one of those who suffered the most when he was trapped in that dimension. Sigh, I know, the other girls told me when I came back, but even though it hurts me a lot to see Sarah-chan like that, I still can't. In fact, there are few people who know my true identity, said the blonde sad way, since he changed again in case someone passed by and recognized him. But why Issei-kun? The black-haired woman questioned, since what the blonde was doing didn't make sense to her. You should have already realized it, but the supernatural world has been very busy lately, the blonde said, earning a nod from the black-haired girl in confirmation that she did know that. That is because a certain Hindu god wants to start a war. But the problem is that he was able to obtain a very dangerous power that if he manages to develop or control it, the world will once again have a crisis like that of Trihexa, declared the blonde, leaving the black-haired girl very surprised and thoughtful. Indra, she said, as if analyzing the situation and gathering all the information she has had thanks to Serafall telling Sona when she is present. The blonde nods, leaving the black-haired woman even more perplexed than before. That's why Shiva-sama has been moving lately, the black-haired woman said now, more surprised, as the brunette nodded, confirming her theories. But I don't understand what that has to do with you revealing your identity, the black-haired woman asked with great doubt. I am working with Shiva to eliminate a large part of the army that Indra is hiding, so that when he manages to dominate the power that he had required, he will attack the supernatural world, the blonde said seriously, surprising the black-haired woman. If I reveal myself now, Indra will hide his army even more, making our mission even more difficult than before. Since now, as things are, Shiva and I are having a hard time finding these camps, the blonde continued, to which the black-haired woman continued. I paid maximum attention since it was a very important topic, but it won't be for long since I'm going to reveal myself very soon and I have the perfect event for the news to spread quickly, the blonde said with a calm smile, imagining a certain event involving a certain blonde with pigtails. But if you reveal yourself, what you said a moment ago won't happen, the black-haired woman asked, a little confused because despite being very intelligent, she couldn't process all the information she learned today. It's because if I reveal myself now, that's what's going to happen, but Shiva and I have already eliminated many camps so that Indra's strength drops a lot. We'll just destroy a few more and I'll reveal myself. The blonde said calmly. When I reveal myself, I will communicate to the supernatural world about what is happening. That way, we will force Indra to leave. But when he comes out and realizes that his forces are greatly reduced, he will begin to look for people to increase his army. In that way, you can infiltrate us and know what he is planning in addition to knowing his exact location to launch an attack and have it before his plans come true, said the blonde, surprising the black-haired girl because of the complicated and detailed plan that the blonde had just explained to her. Although she knew that that was only on the surface since she realized that the plan was also very complicated and difficult in many points, such as those who are going to infiltrate since they have to be beings that Indra would never suspect. Note: no, I'm not going to put the camp fights because it would be stupid. What can simple soldiers do when they are in front of Issei or Shiva? Nothing, so they eliminate them quickly. They talked like that for a few minutes, but the blonde got tired of the topic and it was better to change it since he wanted to enjoy the company of the black-haired girl, to which she happily followed along. They were like that for a long time, enjoying each other's company and talking about trivial topics, making the black-haired girl feel very comfortable and happy being next to the person she loves. It's a little late now. Do you think if I take you home, I don't want Sona to worry and think that I've done something to you? The blonde said calmly, to which the black-haired woman accepted. Although I don't mind if you do something to me, I would rather like you to do everything to me, thought the black-haired woman, who blushed immediately because of such a thought she had. Although in her mind, there is still the true image of the blonde as she blushed more because even though she looked excellent as Sujiro, she looked much better with her real appearance, since her real body had an excellent body that made her blush just thinking about it, and a very handsome face. The couple teleported near the black-haired woman's house so they could walk a little more together since the night was perfect. Well, Su-chan, here we are. I had a great time with your presence, so I hope to go out with you again, said the blonde, to which the delighted black-haired woman accepted. By the way, I'm going to ask Kuroka to tell you where I live so that you can visit me, the blonde finished saying, to which the black-haired woman nodded and threw herself into his arms alone to give him a big kiss that Rubio accepted it and returned it to him. When the blonde left, the black-haired woman entered her house with a big smile and headed to her room to rest. But what she did not realize was that there was another black-haired woman behind the door of a room who had heard the entire conversation, so that she has her feelings confused. When the blonde arrived home, he was greeted by his loved ones asking how it went, and he told them everything that had happened, making them very happy because everything went well. The days passed normally. The girls happily continued with their responsibilities since when they finished they spent time with their loved ones, and whenever he could he took them on dates, whether to dance, eat or simply take a walk to enjoy the moment. On Vala's part it was the same. He was not very romantic and his girls knew that, and they accepted and loved him, but after spending so much time with the brunette training and seeing how he and his girls interacted he was filled with doubt. Vala asked him why he always treated them too or why he always took them out on dates since he was affectionate with his wives but not so much, and sometimes they went out, to which he had that doubt since the brunette dedicated all his free time to them. The brunette, upon hearing that, simply laughed a little and answered that it was because they were the most important thing in his life, and since he was so busy with the company that he created and with the hunt for Indra's subjects, he did not have much time free in addition to the different separate businesses as in the case of the Citri Academy. He also told her that it was also because he always wanted to see them happy since there was nothing that makes him happier than seeing them smile. That's why I dedicate all my time to them. They deserve that and much more. Note: how does Valley make money? Very simply, his wife is Maya, who being from the old faction, had her family's properties and businesses taken away until Valley got married and obtained them by managing them. Lavania is a magician of upper class. She was the secretary of the magician Mephisto, so she has several businesses with different companies that Vala now manages. Reiken, demon of the Belfigure house, when her parents got married, gave her some land in the human world that Vala now manages. Valley, Upon hearing Issei's reasons, had to agree with him, and from that moment he became more romantic with them, showing them that they were the most important thing to him, making them feel extremely happy and, above all, loved, because despite that they felt that Valley loved them, they had never felt it so much. That's why they thanked the brunette for influencing their Valley so much, although not just them, since by spending so much time with the brunette's girls they developed a certain very strong friendship, so much so that they were influenced by how perverted they were. On the part of a certain Queen Citri, every time she could she went to the brunette to visit him, and sometimes they went out, so that their relationship grew stronger and stronger, although not to the point of reaching a night with him. Yet, Sona was a different case from her queen, since the brunette went to the academy every time he could to see how things were going, although he always took advantage of the opportunity to have a chat with the heiress Citri, who he always enjoyed, and sometimes they played chess, leaving to the black-haired woman with some defeats, although sometimes she beat her. In addition, the brunette took advantage of some occasions to blush the Citri heiress, so that their relationship as friends became stronger and stronger. Note: Sona still doesn't know that Tsujiro is Issei, and no, Issei has not had relations with Subaki for now. On the part of the girls from the occult club, none of them knew that the blonde had more girls, thinking that he only had two. Kaneko and Kuno had one or another fight with her husband. Although they always resolved them, there was always that uncomfortable atmosphere, making their relationship unknown for the future. Ross continued to go out with her husband sometimes and enjoy their time together, but since the blonde appeared, their relationship is still the same and good, but a feeling began to form in her, since she always has that feeling that this was not what she wanted. Ravel, since the blonde had defended her, everything had been better since her Fianca copyright disc no longer bothered her, although sometimes it was the exception. Only a call was missing to a certain blonde magician, and the blonde came to defend her, so that she felt great happy mind, although his parents did not have that same feeling, especially his mother. Rias and Aquino continued with their relationships normally, although they always had a feeling of pain in their chests, and they also had more than one argument with the Queen and King Citri because they were very close to the blonde. On the part of the angelic trio, everything was going perfectly for the three of them, for now. Heaven. First heaven. We can see a brunette who was going to meet her friends and her boyfriend, but when she arrived at the place, he was not there. Girls have seen Nero-kun? Asked the brunette, to which the other girls only shook their heads. The brunette went looking for her boyfriend all over the heavens, but she didn't find him anywhere. When she was going to look for him again, she found Griselda. Irina-san, Lord Michael is looking for you, the Queen of Hearts told the brunette, to which she immediately went to look for him. Heaven. Sixth heaven. Irina had arrived at the home of the Seraphim to look for her lord. Irina, it's good that you're here. I would like to ask you something, said the leader of the heavens in a calm manner, to which the brunette happily agreed to serve her lord. I need you to go to Grigori so that you can deliver some documents to Azazel about an investigation, said the leader of the heavens, to which the brunette immediately accepted and went to fulfill her duty. How do you think he rations when he realizes it? Asked Seraphim Raphael, who was next to him. I don't know, but I hope it's the best way. The leader of heaven answered one of his brothers. Michael, why hasn't Nero fallen, or why is he not given a punishment? Raphael asked, quite interested. That is very simple, it is because he has not committed any sin. The leader of heaven answered calmly. Despite what he has done, he never did it because he wanted to or because of bad intentions, but because he did not want to hurt Irina. His feelings and heart were never with her. He was always with her because he did not want to hurt her heart and simply mind. I wanted him to be happy, but it seems that he can no longer hide what he feels for the other girl, said the leader of heaven with a sad expression. Underworld. Grigori. A chestnut can be seen entering Grigori's facilities. Excuse me, I come on behalf of Lord Michael. He sent me to look for the former ruler Azazel to give him some documents. The brunette said to the fallen who were guarding the entrance to the facilities. Of course, go ahead, Mr. Azazel is in the research laboratory on the 3rd floor, the fallen man informed, to which the brunette thanks him and goes in search of him. After a few minutes the brunette finds the former ruler. Yo, Irina, what are you doing in these places? The fallen man asked, although he already knew, since Michael and he agreed so that she would not continue deceiving herself. Lord Michael sent me to give you these documents for your investigation. Irina answered, to which the fallen man took them, looked through them, and thanked him for bringing it. The brunette was already going to leave, but before that Azazel stops her. Irina, before you leave, Penem told me that if she saw you, she would inform you to go to her since she had to talk to you about something, said the fallen man, to which the brunette did not find it strange since she has a very good relationship with the cadre. He asked her where she was and she said she was in her room resting. The brunette went in search of him, leaving the fallen man with a serious expression. I hope you're okay after this. The fallen man thought to return to his work since what he was going to weigh he couldn't do anything. The brunette was going through the girls' rooms looking for the mother, but someone shouted a name when she was going through a room. Her heart began to beat rapidly while a pain began to form in her chest, and this was because the name they shouted was that of their boyfriend. Irina stood there in static, not knowing what to do since the sounds that came from that same room were of a woman moaning. The brunette got closer and closer to the door as she opened it little by little, while her heart beat rapidly and the pain in her chest intensified more and more until she gathered all the courage and opened the door, and what she found shocked her. It hurt so much that I didn't know what to do. In the room were her boyfriend Nero and Afal having sex. Irina began to shed tears while she felt like something inside her heart was breaking. Note, they thought it was Penemu, because that sexy Fall no longer has an owner. When the couple noticed the brunette, the angel didn't know what to do. He knew that moment would come, but he didn't want it to be that way. Irina, the angel tried to say as he stretched out his hand in the direction of the brunette, but she immediately ran away. Irina, please wait. The angel called to Irina, but she ignored him and left. The angel did not know what to do. He stayed there without doing anything. He fell when he understood the situation and hugged the angel to console him since he did not know what he could do. Note, they were in the special room where an angel cannot fall. Human world, Ku City. We can see a brunette who was running through the rain without any direction. Tears running down her beautiful eyes while her heart hurt more and more, but the strange thing was that her heart didn't hurt because of what she had seen before but because of that moment she felt like something broke, and that was the place where she had sealed all the feelings she had for a certain brunette. Pain, sadness, suffering, loneliness, betrayal were some of the feelings that were tormenting her heart at that moment, when she regained those feelings that she once had for that person who was everything to her. I felt pain at losing him and not being able to do anything to remedy it. Sadness at not having him by your side. Suffering from wanting to see him with all your heart but not being able to no matter what you can do. Loneliness of not having that person who always supported her and always made her smile. Betrayal by being with another man other than himself because of his weakness. They were the feelings that were invading Issei's heart so that she felt a pain worse than death. In another part of the city there is Issei spending time with his parents since he had come to visit them, but at one point his expression became serious, making his parents worry that something bad has happened. Everything is fine, son? The mother asked, very worried. Yes, mother, everything is fine. I just felt someone I knew nearby, said the brunette, to which his parents calmed down. Well, father, mother, I like talking to you but I have to go now, said the brunette, saying goodbye to his parents to go to where he felt a certain brunette stop. In the Q cemetery, there was a chestnut woman standing in front of a grave. She approached her little by little without knowing why she came there since she just wanted to run until the pain in her heart stopped. It began while he was hugging that grave, when he felt that the pain in his heart was getting bigger with each passing moment, and tears were running down his cheeks without stopping since that tombstone had the name of his best friend and his first and only love. A little behind her, the brunette, already transformed into Sujiro, appeared silently. He didn't care if it was raining, so he approached her little by little without her realizing until he was close enough to hear what he was saying, but nothing prepared him for what he saw and heard. In front of him was his best friend and perhaps his first love crying inconsolably while hugging the grave where he was supposed to have been buried. His heart began to hurt when he saw her so destroyed, but what really hurt him was what she was saying. Forgive me, Issei. Please forgive me for failing you. I only wanted to be happy by your side but I forgot you and went with another man, said the brunette with all the pain in her heart. I know that I don't deserve you and I know that you deserve something better than me, but please forgive me for not being able to live without you, said the brunette while she continued to cry inconsolably. I don't want to remember you. What I want is to see you and wake up with you every morning and be able to live by your side. I want to be with you in the good and the bad, and mainly I want you here to tell you that I love you and that you are and always will be the only person I love," said the brunette with a broken voice. While the blonde was behind her, tears ran down his face as he listened to everything the brunette was saying so sincerely. "I would like to be able to reflect myself in your gaze once. I would like to be able to feel your arms when they hug me, and mainly I would like to know if you can forgive me," said the brunette while the pain grew with each passing moment. "I want to see you, I want to love you and never leave your side," said the brunette, crying uncontrollably. "And I want to see you to ask for forgiveness with all my heart for failing you, crying, 'Please forgive me,'" the brunette finished saying while looking at the sky and letting all the pain out through her tears. At that moment it was not Irina who was crying, but her heart, feeling empty and alone. Not feeling that companion at her side, her heart was crying uncontrollably for the lack of her companion. The blonde, seeing her like that, couldn't take it any more and approached her while he took off the transformation and hugged her from the back and said in a whisper to the brunette, "I forgive you," while tears ran down her cheeks. The brunette feeling the hug and hearing those words that she wanted to hear so much, she cries harder while clinging to the arms that were surrounding her, since she could feel that the person who was hugging her and told her that was the person she needed so much at that moment. "I love you." It was the last thing the brunette said before fainting, since with the embrace her body could relax and collapse. The brunette held her so she wouldn't remain silent and brought her closer to him to see her face. "You have become quite a beautiful woman, my dear Irina," she said while caressing the unconscious brunette's face. "As beautiful and beautiful as an angel," the brunette finished saying while brushing a lock of hair away from the brunette's beautiful face. Seeing her like this, the brunette's chest began to hurt, and a few tears ran down his cheek as they were lost in the endless rain that fell. Drake remained silent the entire moment before this scene, since she did not know what to say, but she knew that this was all the pain that she had kept in her heart for 10 years. "Drake, what I'm doing to him is really correct?" the brunette asked with doubt as he saw how the rain fell on the brunette's beautiful face. "I don't know. I can only tell you that people have to live with the mistakes they make so that one day they can simply overcome them and move on," Drake answered in a calm but also serious manner. Issei remained silent upon hearing his friend's words, and after a few minutes he gets up with the brunette in his arms and leaves in a magic circle. Human world. Haida Mansion. At the entrance to the mansion, Issei appears with an unconscious chestnut in his completely wet arms. When he arrives, the girls go to receive him but are surprised to see their beloved completely wet and the brunette unconscious in their arms, so they rush to see if something bad happened. "Issei-sama, what happened? Did something happen to Irina?" the magician asked, worried that something had happened, and even more so when she saw her unconscious friend. "Sigh, I really don't know either. I found her in the Ku's cemetery in the rain, where I'm supposed to know, as soon as I arrived, and she fainted apparently from mental exhaustion," the brunette answered, clarifying the situation and reassuring the people. "Girls, Kuro-chan, Fei-chan, please give him a hot bath so he doesn't get sick, and then find a room for him to rest," the brunette asked, to which all of the aforementioned nod and take the unconscious Irina away. While the brunette goes up to his room where he has his clothes to go take a bath and change. A little later at night, we can see a brunette resting in a room where the brunette was with his girls. "Fei-chan, the bed is big enough for someone else to sleep in. Please stay with her tonight in case she wakes up so that the first thing she sees is someone she knows," the brunette asked, to which Mega nods and goes to change to sleep with her. "Yasu-chan, I'm going to tell Michael that Irina is with me, but most likely he won't trust me. Come with me so that Michael can trust even if it's in you," said the brunette, to which the kitsune nods and leaves with Irina to the room to call the leader of heaven. Sixth heaven. They already found some clue about her, the leader of heaven asked his brothers. "No, the last time they saw her was in Gregory when she was leaving, heading to the human world, but we cannot trace where she teleported to," Uriel answered while giving his guards instructions to start a great search since the heavens became worried when Irina disappeared from the heaven system. "Micheloni-sama has not yet found Irina-san?" Seraphim Gabriel asked, entering the room. "No, and the most worrying thing is that we cannot track her through the father system," the leader of heaven answered his sister. But when Gabriel was going to say something, Raphael arrives running, entering the room, surprising everyone with his sudden entrance. "Michael, someone is trying to communicate with us," the Seraph reported, but upon seeing that it was nothing important, everyone returned to their own thing. "If it's not about Irina, I don't have time to attend to her," said the leader of the heavens, returning to what he was doing before. "But the person who communicated with us is not one of the known fractions. We don't even have him in the communication system, and he doesn't know how he could communicate with us," the Seraph finished saying, surprising everyone present, mainly Michael and Gabriel. "Contact me with him immediately," said the leader of the heavens in a serious manner, to which the Seraph nods, creating a magic circle where a rather elegant blonde appears. As soon as Gabriel saw him, his heart began to beat rapidly for no reason. "Who are you and how were you able to communicate with heaven?" said the leader of heaven in a calm but also serious manner. "What manners does the leader of heaven have? But well, I'm not surprised that you don't know me, but I'm sure you've already heard of me," said the blonde in the magic circle in a calm manner. All the seraphim were paying attention to the conversation with great care and distrust of the person who appeared in the circle, except for a certain seraphim who could not take her eyes off of him for some reason, since her heart did not stop beating when she saw him. The unknown person in the magic circle. "I'll introduce myself. My name is Tsujiro Pendragon." When the blonde finished saying that, it surprised those present, mainly Michael, since Azazel told him that this person was extremely strong, and it was better to have him as a friend than to have him as an enemy. "Indeed, I have already heard from you, Pendragon-san. I would like to know what your call is about," asked the leader of the heavens in a calm manner, and with great curiosity. "Well, not much. A few hours ago, I found one of his angels fainted due to the location I was in, so I dared to take him with me to see if he had any injuries, but I found that he was simply fainted due to mental exhaustion, and at this moment, he is resting in my home," Issei finished saying, surprising everyone present and thinking that perhaps he is the angel they have been looking for. "The angel's name is Irina Shido. At this moment she is sleeping and recovering from her mental exhaustion," the blonde said, reassuring everyone knowing that she was fine. "How do I know that you are fine?" said the leader of heaven with some distrust. "I imagine you wouldn't trust me, but it wasn't surprising since I'm just a stranger, but I think you can trust this person's word," the blonde finished saying, so that a silhouette of a beautiful woman with ears and a tail kitsune appears next to the blonde. Note: Osaka and Kuroka always walk with their yukai features on the outside since the brunette likes to see them like that, and they feel freer like this since that is their original appearance. When he appeared, everyone was surprised since they did not expect that this person would meet the blonde. "Hello, Michael," the former leader of the yokai said to the leader of the heavens with total nature, while the latter was silent since that took him by surprise. "Yusaku, what are you doing?" the leader of the heavens asked with quite curiosity once he recovered from the surprise. "Ah, that doesn't matter. On the contrary, you don't have to worry about Irina. She is in good hands. When she fully recovers, I will send her to heaven again," the kitsune said calmly. Michael did not pursue the topic further and left it aside, and with Yusaka he can rest assured that nothing bad will happen to Irina. "It's okay. Thank you very much, Yusaka, and also to you, Pendragon-san, for taking care of her," the leader of the heavens said with total sincerity. "But if it's not too much trouble, could you tell me where she is, since the father's system cannot track her? It is as if she had disappeared from this world," said the leader of heaven with quite curiosity, since he thought that his father's system may be failing. "I'm sorry, but I prefer that my home remains a secret about the system. You don't have to worry since it works perfectly. It's just that the place where my home is covered by several very powerful magical shields. That's why the system heaven cannot track it, since it causes the signal to disperse when it collides with the barrier," the blonde clarified in a calm manner, but it also surprised everyone present that the blonde had such a powerful barrier. Michael wanted to ask about this barrier, but he realized that the blonde wasn't going to say anything else, so with a sigh of relief that his angel is okay, he let him pass. "Well, I'll say goodbye since I just wanted to tell you this," the blonde said to leave, but before disappearing he could see Gabriel, who was a little away from Michael, and he realized that she couldn't stop looking at him. "It seems that her heart already knows who I really am, but her mind doesn't," the blonde thought when he saw that she didn't take her eyes off him. We'll see each other very soon, the blonde said, moving his lips so that only the seraph could understand him before disappearing. The entire room was quiet after the blonde cut the communication. They were very surprised by everything they found out today, but the most surprised was a certain Sarah who couldn't take her eyes off the blonde since he appeared. His heart didn't stop beating when he saw him, but when he understood those last words, his heart accelerated much more as if he wanted that moment to come as soon as possible. After a few minutes in that state, everyone came back to their senses and prepared to do their respective tasks while Gabriel left the room since he needs to think about why he has such a strange feeling in his heart. Human world. Haida Mansion. Sigh, I never thought things would turn out that way, said the brunette after having finished talking to Michael a while ago. I never thought that Irina would react that way when she recovered from those feelings. Thought the brunette, very worried about the brunette's health since despite everything he still loved her very much, and he also had to think about everything she said. The brunette sighed again and put those thoughts aside for the moment, and focused on what was happening around him since he had Ophis between his laps, lying on his chest while on each side he had Yasaka and Kuroka lying on his back. The brunette couldn't stop smiling because he felt very happy to have people who loved him so much and supported him so much. It was truly a unique sight as the three girls were fast asleep, making them look more beautiful than they already were. After appreciating how beautiful his beautiful girls looked, he creates two clones of himself. One picked up Yasaka, and when she felt that she was picked up, she clung to Issei clone and could feel that it was her lover as he smiled. The other picked up Kuroka, who when she felt that she was being picked up was waking up, but the brunette's clone caressed her on her head, making her let out several purrs and go back to sleep. This made the brunette smile when he saw how cool his beauty was, kitten, but he still loved that side of her. Finally, the original brunette carefully picked up Ophis, but she woke up. Don't worry, let's go to sleep now, said Issei calmly, to which the dragon, upon finding out that her lover had picked her up, gave him a small kiss to fall asleep again in his arms as if there was no place more like her and calm in the world. The brunette smiled at how cute his dragon looked, and he couldn't help but give her another kiss. Although she was asleep, she returned it. Then he went on to give one to the other girls who, after they felt they were kissed, a smile formed on their faces. Then they went to the rooms so they could rest and see what the next day awaits them. On a calm morning we can see a brunette waking up in a room that is unknown to her. What happened? The brunette said to herself, trying to remember the last thing that happened. At that moment, she remembers everything that happened at that time, from the betrayal of her now ex-boyfriend to when she was in the rain, and remembered how someone hugged her. She hugged herself as she remembered the warmth and love that hug had and those words that she needed so much at that moment. And although she knew that it was impossible for it to be him, she still had hope that she would be able to see him again. Once he recovered his memories, he sat on the bed and looked around. The bed was quite large and comfortable. The room was not very big but not small either. It had decorations along with some nightstands on each side of the bed. A nice closet. It also had 2 doors. He imagined that one was the bathroom of the room. He got out of bed and realized that he didn't have the same clothes he was wearing last time, and that worried him that something had been done to him. After a few minutes of determinedly checking his body, he realized that nothing had happened to him. In fact, he felt very good after the rest. He prepared to leave the room to find that he was on the 2nd floor. He looked around and marveled at how beautiful the house was. He walked down the stairs and went down to the 1st floor. His eyes opened because the place was really big but also very beautiful. He heard voices coming from the next room and he went to investigate, preparing in case he had to fight. When she opened the door, she was surprised because she saw her friends talking calmly while they were having breakfast. That surprised the brunette a lot. The girls heard the door and looked to see who. "Oh, Irina, how are you? How do you feel?" the magician asked in a worried tone as she went to where her friend was. "Lupe, what are you doing here?" "No, wait?" asked Irina with great curiosity. The magician only gave him a smile of understanding. "You are in our house, Irina," the magician answered calmly, making the brunette open her eyes in surprise. "Now tell me, how do you feel? Are you okay?" the new mind magician asked calmly. "Yes, I feel fine now," the brunette answered with a smile. The magician breathed a sigh of relief. She offered the brunette to sit with them, which she accepted and served her something for breakfast. If this is your house, it means that it is also Sujiro-san's house, right? The brunette asked with great curiosity, to which Mega only nodded. Then why are you here? The brunette asked with even more curiosity, since she knew that Luffy and Kurumi had a feeling, but seeing Yasaka and Kuroka here surprised her a lot. The girls just smiled in a funny way. We are Sujiro-kun's girlfriends, the kitsune said calmly, making the brunette surprised by such a revelation. Hey! It was the only thing the brunette could say. When the girls saw her, they let out a little laugh. But how, I mean when? The brunette asked, surprised. Well, it wasn't very difficult. After he saved me at my daughter's party, we got to know each other a little, and after a while here I am. The kitsune answered calmly, but with a smile that expressed how happy she was to be with him. Not also Naya. After the party I talked about some topics with him, and after a while we started going out Naya and getting to know each other better, and here I am Naya. This time the Nikomata answered with a smile of love, dear, I am now his fiancé and we are thinking of getting married soon. The dragon answered calmly. She had always appreciated the brunette, since they always taught her a few things with the brunette before the brunette was trapped. The brunette is speechless. Her brain could not understand when all this happened and at what moment. But then she remembered that she stopped being interested in what was happening around her to just be with her ex-boyfriend. When she remembered that, she became very depressed, mainly because she had stopped being with Lupe and Ravel, who had become her best friends, and she was also very good friends with Yasaka, Kuroka, Olphus and some other girls, but she still became depressed. But when she remembered that she had forgotten the person she loved and appreciated so much in this world, she had forgotten her only and first love. A few tears ran down her cheeks as she remembered that. The girls realized that the brunette became very depressed and immediately realized why, since they remembered that the brunette had forgotten about the brunette, and although they did not know what happened to her when she arrived with her lover, they did realize. He realizes that what he had taught his feelings for him had opened up. What she was experiencing right now is the pain of having forgotten the most important person in her life. The girl stood up and hugged her so she knew she had their full support. In that moment when they hugged her to console her, the brunette knew that she didn't deserve it. She had forgotten about them. She had forgotten about her dear friends. She had forgotten about the man she loved with all her being. And although she knew that she deserved it, she couldn't help but let go of all that pain in her heart that moment, when her dear friends made her understand that it was there for her. The morning passed quietly while they comforted the brunette. Forgive me, girls, for everything that has happened. Forgive me for forgetting you and keep me away from you, the brunette said with total sincerity as tears ran down her cheeks. I know I don't deserve it, but I would like to be your friend again, the brunette said again with a broken voice, since she really missed the time she spent with them in the past. Note: remember that before walking, Irina was very close friends with the girls who were waiting for Issei, among them the four mentioned above. The girls, seeing the brunette with her head down while tears came out of her eyes and asking for forgiveness, couldn't take it anymore and hugged her harder than before. We don't have to forgive you for anything, the magician said calmly. Since you haven't done anything wrong, Naya, the Nikomata said with a smile. You don't have to ask if you can be our friend either, the dragon said softly. Because you already are and will always be our friend, the kitsune finished saying. When the brunette heard them say all that, she couldn't cry anymore in the embrace of her dear friends, but this time it wasn't from sadness but from happiness at having friends like them. The morning passed quietly talking to each other, spending time together. The brunette felt so happy being with them, she couldn't remember the last time she felt so happy and calm. By the way, Facian, you have a very beautiful house. Well, I'd rather say, they have a very beautiful house, the brunette corrected when she remembered that the four of them live here. Thank you, Irina-chan. Although my husband built and arranged the house when it was just the two of us, the magician reported, to which the brunette, who was surprised by that detail since she thought that if a man tidied up a house, it would be more masculine, but he was surprised because the house was actually very beautiful and very cozy. He told me that he had made it not only for him, but for the people who will live with him, and knowing that he was already married to me, he made it thinking in a way that I and his future wives would like to live. The magician reported again. Calm way. And oh well, it turned out very well, Naya, since I don't even want to leave here, Naya. said the Nikomata with a smile as she remembered everything the house had: hot springs, jacuzzi, video games, a restroom, a swimming pool, living rooms of training, in addition to the fact that the house itself was very cozy and gave him that feeling of a home that he had never had until now. In fact, the house is very cozy, it has everything one needs, in fact it has more than that, commented the kitsune, having a feeling of comfort and tranquility since before she could not relax with all her duties. It is not surprising since Sujiro thought not only that his future wives have a quiet and relaxing place but also a cozy one, so it has more than what one needs since he wanted to screw us, so to speak, said the dragon with a smile on her face. Her face as she remembered how a place had never made her feel so comfortable. It really sounds like a great place to live, the brunette said, quite surprised. The brunette, listening to her friends, felt a little jealous because even though she lived in heaven, she never felt that it was her home, and even though she felt that heaven was calm, it did not transmit the same tranquility comfort that being in this place conveys. You can imagine, this house is more than it seems, the kitsune commented with a smile on her face. Mainly the last room on the second floor, Naya, the Nikomata said in a whisper, but the brunette managed to hear her but didn't say anything. It really is a beautiful place. I imagine it is very relaxing to live here, the brunette said calmly. You can't even imagine it, the girls thought at the same time when remembering how much fun they had and relaxed in the special room with their beloved brunette. Feishin, you said that future wives, you already knew that he wouldn't have just you? The brunette asked, constantly curious. Well, as you already know, he is a dragon, so it wasn't a surprise if he had more than one wife, although I'm glad that they are people that I know, said the magician, looking back at the other girls who returned the word. Look with a smile. And they don't mind sharing it? The brunette asked again, quite interested. No, he treats us all the same, said the dragon with a smile when remembering that Issei always treats them with the same affection and love. In fact, he treats us better than ever, said the kitsune, remembering all the appointments, details and treatments that the brunette has given them. And you know that although more are going to come, Naya, he is going to treat us all equally, Naya, commented the Nikomata, remembering that as the girls grew, the brunette never neglected them. In fact, he was more aware of them. Even now that he is forming a relationship with Subaki, has never neglected them, and has only treated them with love and affection. What do you mean by saying that more are coming? Asked the brunette, very curious. Well, there are more girls who are in love with him. In fact, during this time he has been forming a new relationship with that girl, the kitsune said calmly as if it were nothing. And that doesn't bother them? The brunette asked again, incredulous at what she was hearing. Why would we be, Naya? The Nikomata answered with a smile on her face as she sensed a slight trace of jealousy in the brunette's aura. He has always treated us with a lot of love, and since another person is in love with him, we would like them to feel the happiness that we feel, said the kitsune with a smile as she also felt that slight trace of jealousy in the aura of Irina. Irina couldn't believe it that they allow him to hang out with other girls. But then she remembered that before she was in a similar situation with the brunette and the Gremmeries girls, so she couldn't say anything, but for some reason, knowing that he was with other girls, Issei bothered him a little. The brunette was going to say something, but she heard someone in the room and went to see who it was along with the other girls who were in front of her. Irina was surprised to see that it was Valley and his wives. Hello, Valley. Hello, girls. Greeting girls from Issei. Except for Irina, who was very surprised to see Valley and his wives here, those mentioned returned the greeting. It's not found, Valley asked calmly. No, Sujiro-sama went out in the morning to attend to some company business, the magician reported with a smile. But Valley and his wives found it strange that she called him that when she was at home, so they saw the brunette and understood everything. Well, if he arrives, they tell him that I will be downstairs training, said Valley, to which the girls nodded and Valley left. Note, remember that the house has an underground training field with seals to train to expel large amounts of power, and the one outside is to train your physique and resistance. What were you girls doing? Maya asked the girls in Issei. We were thinking of showing Irina the house. Do you want to come with us? The magician said calmly, to which Vala's wives nodded happily, and even though they have come many times, they still do not know the house in its entirety. The girls went to tour the house, showing the brunette and Vala's wives the house, or at least the parts that she didn't know, such as the hot springs and the library. Irina was delighted. The house was really very beautiful and had everything to make it very comfortable. Right now they were in the back where the pool was, and he could see a training field not far from it with different obstacles. In addition, he also saw the sea, and there he realized that he was on an island. The sound of the waves, the natural environment, since it had a small forest, in addition to the atmosphere of peace and tranquility that the place gave off, was something very intoxicating. Fei-chan, how is it that the atmosphere is cool inside if they are on an island? The brunette asked with great curiosity. Vala's wives also saw the magician again since they were curious. It's not very difficult. Sujiro-sama has a great amount of knowledge about magic that even I didn't know, because for me it was, how can I say, useless. The magician answered with a smile. The house is covered by reflective spells that reflect the heat, and inside it is covered by several cooling and normal temperature spells. That way the house stays cool. The magician finished saying, surprising the brunette and valley girls. That's why I said they were useless for me, since I focus on defense or attack spells. In addition to some barrier and healing spells, I left this type of magic out, said the magician with an expression of shame. Levi, Nia, and Lavani, who were the magicians, did not tell him anything because they also left behind that useful and small magic. Apart from that magic, he also masters very powerful magic, such as the barriers that surround the training areas, which were covered by several very powerful spells, and the barrier that surrounds the entire island, making it impenetrable and undetectable. And although I helped him, he was the one who actually did all the work. The magician finished saying with great pride to report that her magician was very skilled in magic. Vala's magicians were drooling over that information, since being magicians, their knowledge was the most important thing. Fei-chan, you can do it too? Levi and Nia asked with great curiosity. No, well, at least not yet, since he's just starting to teach me form magic, the magician answered. For magic? Lavani asked with great curiosity. Although not only her, they all saw the magician again, including the brunette girls, since the brunette, even though he has been training them all, trained them in different areas. Shape magic is a sub-area of transformation magic, but this is more complicated since what it does is mold a spell, giving it shape and an increase in power. For example, I cast a fireball upon impact in an area or enemy. The fire expands, burning everything little by little. However, I throw a fireball, and together with shape magic, I give it the shape I want. For example, a game dragon where the magic has a potential and it burns upon impact. Or rather, it destroys only the area of impact where a better result. The magician finished explaining, leaving all the girls with their mouths open. While with the two valid magicians they were with stars in their eyes, they knelt in front of her, and as if she were a deity they said to her, "O Lady Pendragon, Lupe-sama, please teach us your knowledge." The pair of magicians said in unison, making everyone have a drop on the back of their neck for such a scene. I'm sorry, girls, I can't since I still don't control it. In fact, I still have a long way to go to control it. Sujiro-sama told me that this magic has 4 levels and I'm barely at level 3. Said the magician, making the girls get depressed about that. If you want, I'll talk to him to see if he can teach you, the magician said again, to which the girls rushed to hug the magician while tears came out of their eyes and saying thank you Lupe-sama many times, making her everyone's gout grew even more on the back of their necks when they saw that scene. Irina, who heard everything, was surprised since she never thought that the blonde was so powerful and very intelligent. So she realized, she turned to see the entire area and had to admit the place was very beautiful. Yasaka was going to tell them to go into the living room, but they heard a voice behind her. Since they were here, it already seemed strange to me not to find them, said a voice from behind the girls, to which they all turned to look and found a blonde who was looking at them with a smile. The blonde's girls went to receive him, to which he received them with a kiss each one, making them smile and gladly accept the kiss. All this was seen by a brunette who felt some discomfort when seeing that scene. Hello, girls. The blonde greeted Vala's wives, to which they returned the greeting. Oh, I see that you are fine now, Miss Irina, the blonde said when he saw the brunette. If it's all thanks to you, thank you very much for helping me, and I'm sorry for the inconvenience I've caused you, said the brunette, remembering that the girls had told them that the blonde had helped her, brought her home so she could rest and recover. You don't have to worry. I also talked to Michael about how you were at my house, and although he didn't know where it was located, he was reassured to know that Yasa-chan was also there, so you can stay as long as you want. I just ask you not to reveal its location, the blonde said calmly, to which the brunette thanked him for the gesture, and thought that she would stay one more day since she liked the calm of this place, as well as the feeling of tranquility and home that it conveys to her. By the way, what were they doing here? The blonde asked with great curiosity. We were showing Irina and the girls the house since they didn't know everything about it, the kitsune said with a smile as she hugged the blonde, since the aura he gives off always helps her relax. By the way, Tsujiro-sama, Lavinia and Lavini were asking me if you could teach them magic in the way you are teaching me, said the magician, remembering what happened a few moments ago. The blonde looks back at the aforementioned women who were waiting for his response. There is no problem for me. You just have to know that this magic is very dangerous and requires a lot of practice and dedication, the blonde said seriously, to which the magicians nodded as a sign that they would commit themselves. Even Facian, with her intellect and ingenuity, has had a hard time, and in almost a few months of hard training she has only just passed to level 3. The blonde said again in a serious manner. It's so difficult, Lavini asked, knowing that even though she and Lu Fei are at the same level and knowing that it costs her friend and rival so much means that it is very complicated. Magic itself is already very difficult. You barely control a small part of everything that magic means, said the blonde, smiling calmly, surprising everyone, mainly the magicians who saw Lu Fei again, to which she nods in response that it is true. Since Sujiro-sama is training me, I have realized that those words are very true, since we magicians hardly use very superficial spells. For example, we do fire magic with the intention of burning but not destroying, water magic with the intention to harm but not pierce, air magic with the intention to hurt and not cut, and more than that, that would only be on the offensive, the magician explained, remembering everything she has learned with her beloved husband until now. Very well done, my dear Facian, you have really paid attention, said the blonde, congratulating his beloved wife, while the girls remained silent at that explanation and realized that it is true. Note, you may be wondering where Issei is so wise and powerful in magic. Easy Trihexa, a creature that came from another universe, since the beginning that can use magic would be very easy for him to teach what true magic is and its true essence. You have to know magic is a branch of life that is extremely ancient and extensive. With it one can do almost anything with it, said the blonde while creating 3 magic circles that produced small elemental dragons of water and fire and air. Vala's wives next to the brunette were shocked to see those little dragons flying as if they had a life of their own. Then the blonde sent them to the heavens and they began to fight where water defeats fire, fire over wind and wind over water, ending in a 3-way tie. Note, water extinguishes fire, fire grows with the wind divides water. Vala's wives were shocked by what they saw, mainly the 2 magicians who realized that the world was bigger than they thought. Please allow us to be yours, they said in unison in a serious manner, since today they showed them that they still had a lot left to do, and they were also excited to be able to learn more about what they love magic so much. The blonde smiled in approval and told them that they would teach him everything he knew, making them jump with excitement. Now, first lesson, and I want you to pay attention to it very well, said the blonde in a serious manner, making sure everyone paid attention. You never stop learning, even if you are a teacher or wise. You always have to continue studying since you always learn something new, said the blonde, to which everyone subconsciously recorded those words. Hey, why don't you ask him for help too? Said the kitsune, drawing the attention of Vala's 3 wives. Although it may not seem like he has a lot of Naya knowledge, he has helped Yasaka and me enormously with our Senjutsu Naya, the Nikomata continued, remembering how he taught her to predict the enemy's movements in addition to tracking, improving senses and being able to feel the emotions in a person's aura. The girls thought about it for a few moments, since they were not very sure. It is better that you ask him to train you, mainly now since Vala is training properly, his power over the previous one making you unable to help him when he needs it, causing you to stay behind. Besides, now he can train with you since his training is very different from before and from what you need, said the dragon, looking at Vala's handcuffs, to which they nodded when they heard that, and immediately went to ask the blonde for help since he didn't they wanted to be a hindrance to their loved one. Rather, they wanted to help him in everything they could. You should also go ask him for help, Irina, the dragon said again, seeing the brunette who was surprised by what she said. I can see that your body is out of shape. It seems that in recent years you have not trained properly. You need help if you do not want to be left behind, since we all train properly so as not to be a hindrance later, said the dragon in a very serious way. I feel that the brunette is depressed when she learns the truth because she was with her ex-boyfriend she did not train properly. In fact, most of the time she did not even train. But he can help me with my magic since, being an angel, I specialize in the management of light, Irina said, remembering that detail. Pay more attention, said the dragon, seeing where the blonde is. The brunette also turned to see the blonde and was surprised to see that he had created 3 other dragons, one of ice, another of darkness, and the one that surprised her the most was the light one. Light is also a branch of magic. Angels, being beings of this magic, have the ability to handle this element better. But not only they can handle it, since with a lot of practice it can also be handled. The dragon finished saying to Irina she was very surprised, and after thinking about it a little she went to ask Blonde for help since she really wanted to be strong and also to know why she had that strange feeling around the blonde. In this way, the blonde helped Vala's wife and the brunette to improve, making them stronger both physically and in their respective areas, be it magic, senjutsu, light management, or their demonic powers. Also, as time passed, he helped Valley in his training so that he could improve. There he realized why Valley was told that he was a genius, since with just a few months he was able to train his body properly, managing his dragon powers to perfection, making him more comfortable than before. He is now training his balance breaker. He also trained his wives, making them become stronger and stronger. Sometimes he trained himself since he still had a lot to perfect, and during this time, together with Shiva, they destroyed several camps of Indra's army, causing phase 2 of the plan to begin, coming soon. During this time he was also training with Irina, making her see him in a different way than before, gaining a little confidence in him, in addition to the fact that when he went to train he stayed for some time at his house so that he could get along better with the other girls. As much as those of the blonde as those of Valley. The blonde had also told her not to tell where her house was located, which she accepted. When she returned to heaven after that accident, so to speak, she was received by her Lord Michael, making her calm knowing that nothing had happened to her. She also realized that her friends didn't care about her being with her boyfriend. That's where she realized that what Kurumi said in one of their conversations was true. Memory. It's okay to fall in love, it's okay to spend time with that person you love, but it's bad to become obsessed in a way that you don't know what's going on around you, since that relationship will only end in failure. The dragon said seriously as she looked at the girl. Brunette, who was surprised by his words. You became obsessed with the one you called your boyfriend without realizing that you were losing your true friends, those who truly care about you, the dragon said, pointing to everyone but mainly to Lu Fei who was in front of her. In addition, you forgot to properly use your body, causing it to become clumsy and slow due to being with someone who was not for you. We are in love with our loved one. It can be said that we do not want to live without him, but we still pay attention to what he tells us. We surround ourselves to be prepared if something happens that harms them. In this way we train since we want to protect the person we love, or at least be by their side when difficulties come, continued the dragon of saying the dragon. Another clear example of true love is in front of you too, said the dragon, pointing to Vala's wives. They are in love with their loved one, but they still train hard to be with him and not be a hindrance in difficulties, rather help him when he needs it, and are attentive to his surroundings to know if they need to protect him, if something stalks him or threatens him. Threat. The dragon finished saying, end of memory. She realized that she was cut off and thanked Kurumi for opening her eyes at that moment. They also talked about how now that her heart has her feelings for her beloved chestnut, she now focuses only on training to be prepared when the time comes to return to him. See and not disappoint him, since when he returns he will be very powerful, and she wanted to be by his side to support him. Also that time Issei grew closer to Queen Citri. One day the black-haired Citri went to visit her beloved brunette. When he got to the house he realized that there was no one, so he did a little research to see if he could find someone, but he still couldn't. He thought there was no one, so he got ready to leave, but he heard sounds coming from the back side of the house, more exactly the training ground in the back. He prepared to go investigate, but when he arrived the color rose to his cheeks as he could see his beloved brunette shirtless while he had a small duel with Valley. The black-haired woman remained static without being able to move as she was staring at every centimeter of her lover's formed body, watching it move while the sweat ran down her well-shaped torso. Yes, the black-haired girl was getting excited every moment they passed, until the brunette noticed her making the little fight stop. The albino, upon seeing the black-haired girl, told the brown-haired man to leave the resistance fight until now for today. So he went to where the black-haired girl was while Valen knew that he was training a little more. The black-haired woman, upon seeing the brunette approaching, blushed more while she saw how the sweat ran down his well-shaped chest and continued to his well-shaped abdomen. The black-haired woman was getting excited every moment that the brunette approached, and knowing that today I just came to spend a little time with Issei, I never imagined coming across such a sight. I'm sorry if I made you wait, Su-chan. It's just that the training took a little longer, the brunette said with a smile, to which the black-haired woman could only shake her head when she saw how damn sexy she looked. Like that, she had to bite her lips so as not to throw herself at him and make him hers. Allow me a few minutes, I'll take a bath to get rid of the sweat and I'll come down, the brunette said calmly, to which the black-haired woman could only nod her head. The brunette went to his room to take a bath while the black-haired girl stayed in the living room waiting for him, but she was too excited to sit down. In fact, she was too excited to be calm. The image of seeing the brunette like that excited her a lot, so she took a decision and went to the room where Issei. Since today was a perfect time, she knew that the girls went shopping with Vala's girls. Vala was training far from the house, which left the two of them alone. And although she didn't mind the other girls being there, she did. I wanted their first time to be special, just him and her. The brunette finished bathing and came out with nothing more than a towel on his bottom, but he was surprised when he saw the black-haired woman sitting on her bed with a strong blush while she saw him in detail, making her breathe heavily because of how excited she was. The brunette was surprised to see her like that. She really looked too pretty. But with his improved senses he was able to perceive a smell that was very familiar to him, since it was the smell of an excited woman. "What are you doing here, Tsukin?" said the brunette with a smile, holding on to his innocence. And well, the black-haired girl was trying to say something, but seeing the brunette like that she couldn't conjure up words. "Sui-chan, my face is up," the brunette said with an innocent voice, since the black-haired woman was looking at him up and down until her gaze stopped on the towel as she saw a lump forming. When the black-haired woman heard those words, her face blushed to such a degree that she was completely red. "I better go." "I'm going," the black-haired woman said, trying to leave, but the brunette held her hand and pulled her to him, facing each other. The black-haired woman, being so close to the brunette, began to feel a heat invade her entire body, mainly in her lower part. And as he passed his hand over Issei's torso, that heat intensified. The brunette hugged her waist, pulling her closer to him while with her other hand he made her look at him. "You don't know how beautiful you look like that," said the brunette when he saw the black-haired girl, who was blushing even more. Queen Citri didn't know why, but it turned her on when he treated her like that, since she felt that he was so dominant, but at the same time so delicate when he touched her. The brunette approached her bed next to her, and she didn't even resist. Issei lays her down in the center of the bed while bringing his lips close to hers until he kisses her. It was a kiss full of desire and passion that he felt, the black-haired girl making her more excited with every passing moment. When they separate, you can see a completely red-haired black woman but with a look of desire and lust. Seeing her like this, Issei kisses her passionately again, making the black-haired girl roll her arms around his neck to deepen the kiss, while the brunette ran his hands over the black-haired woman's entire body, making her shudder when she felt the touch, until he ran his hand over her legs, making her let out a small moan of excitement that made the brunette excited. "Are you sure about this? You know what?" He couldn't finish as the black-haired woman kissed him passionately again. "I just want to be you, so make me you now," said the black-haired woman with lust and desire, but also with a tone of supplication. "Apart from today, you will only be mine and no one else's," said the brunette as he kissed her again, but this time with more passion and lust than before. The blonde was taking off her blouse, revealing her large, firm breasts along with a dark blue bra. He let out a small moan when he felt how the brunette kissed his neck, and while one hand passed through his legs and the other through his chest, as if he wanted to record her figure with his touch, making the black-haired woman happy but also more excited since with the touch she felt how the brunette wanted to make her his. He wanted to make love to her, and not just sex. The brunette removed the bra so that the black-haired woman's breasts were exposed, making her blush when she saw how the brunette looked at them. "Don't look at them," the black-haired woman said with great blush as she covered herself, but the brunette took her hands away to see them again. "You don't have to be ashamed since you look gorgeous," said the brunette, making the black-haired girl blush and letting the brunette do what he wanted. Time skip. He approached her and gave her a kiss full of love. As the black-haired woman felt him only smile, the brunette continued kissing her while he continued down her shoulder, his back until he reached her nice, firm butt, which he gave her a kiss and a caress, causing her to unconsciously let out a moan as she was still fainting. He just smiles and runs his hand along her left leg where there is now a red mark with the head of a dragon. Issei smiles at her, covers the black-haired girl so she can rest and cast a spell on her so that she can walk later because he was sure she wouldn't be able to. The brunette leaves the room with only a pair of pants and a shirt in hand, but not before seeing his beautiful wife resting peacefully on his bed with a big smile. He goes down to the kitchen where he grabs some cold drinks and goes to the living room to rest while he watches what's interesting on TV. Shortly after, Valley arrives, who had finished training and had gone to take a bath to cool off. He was only wearing pants since he had a shirt in his hand, revealing his now somewhat marked body. Issei hands him a soft drink and upon receiving it he sits down next to him to rest. "So how is the training going?" the brunette asked calmly. "By improving, I can now use the balance breaker more easily, although I cannot control the power that Ophice had given me," Vala answered with some annoyance since he is having a hard time controlling that power. "Don't worry, you need to focus on just one thing, keep training with the balance breaker until you can handle it perfectly, then we will focus on controlling that power since you need to have it under control before training with the Dragon Lucifer drive," Issei said, to which Valley could only sigh, although he did not complain since the results he is having are what he had always wanted. No need to rush, Valley. You have already made great progress, and now you command great power. Even I can feel that my power has grown," Albion commented calmly. And that's nothing, wait until you can transform into a dragon since it feels like your body has a new mind, Dryad commented, encouraging the two. "In fact, Dreg is right since that is why our minds connect, making what I feel he also feels, although the aura is still only mine and not Dreg's," said the brunette, confirming his friend's words. Connection of minds? Albion said with some doubt. "The process is very difficult and tedious, but the results are very great. Although I can get the dragon force at once, being able to become a dragon is a unique experience. You will also need it if you want to achieve that transformation since control is needed and perfect balance that is only obtained by transforming into a complete dragon," Issei finished saying calmly. "We still have a long way to go to get there," Valis said calmly since he didn't want to rush things. I estimate that in maybe 2 or a year and a half they may already be trying to transform into a dragon, Drake said analytically. "It took me a little more than a year to reach your level. 2.5 years to be able to control the power of Ophice and my dragon infinite drive, and finally almost 2 years to master my dragon transformation," said the brunette, thinking about him. Suffering that had happened called training. "And the dragon force, how much did he take you?" asked the albino curiously. "I haven't mastered that. The other 5 I was training my swordsmanship, magical manipulation, basic knowledge of the world, strategies, some other things. Sometimes I trained with my dragon force, but it wasn't very often, so I just did it. I can activate it for so little time, and it uses up so much energy because I haven't been able to balance it correctly," the brunette answered, to which Vala understood that this moment is going to cause a headache. At that moment when Vala and the brunette were talking, the girls who were shopping arrived. The girls, when they enter, blush fiercely since their loved ones are showing their naked torsos. On the part of the brown girls, they blushed as they couldn't see the good and shapely torso of their lover, making them excited just by seeing it. On the part of Vala's girls, they were super blushing since before Vala was very sexy and attractive as he was. But now with that body that is increasingly marked, it excites them more and more. The two boys didn't know why they were looking at them like that until they remembered that they were shirtless, so they put them on before being raped at that moment. The girls, after calming down, stayed talking until Vala left with his wives, leaving the brunette alone with his loved ones. "How did it go, girls?" the brunette asked as he kissed each one of them. "Well, nothing out of the ordinary if you ask," said the kitsune, gladly receiving his kiss. "And you, Issei, how did you have it?" the dragon said with a smile. She could already detect the scent of a certain black-haired citri in her lover. "I can't hide anything from you, right, Olphus-chan?" the brunette said with a smile, to which the aforementioned smiled back. "I was training with Vala in the afternoon, and then Tuchin arrived, so one thing led to another, and now let's say that she is peacefully sleeping in my bed with a big smile," the brunette said with a smile. The other three girls were surprised by this event because although they knew that this moment would come, they did not think it would be soon. "I think Subaki won't be able to walk for some time, Naya," the Nikomata said with a malicious smile. "I cast a spell on him so that the sensation would pass quickly and he could walk when he wakes up. But I don't know if he'll be able to walk much," said the brunette innocently, to which the girls let out a small giggle since each of them didn't do it the first time. They could have walked if it weren't for Lu Fei. "For today I will not be able to sleep with you since I would not like her to wake up at night and know that I am not with her, therefore I will spend the night with her, and then I will reward you," said the brunette with a smile naughty. To which the girls understood perfectly, then they trembled slightly with excitement at the way in which the brunette was going to reward them. And after a quiet night everyone went to sleep, where the brunette went to sleep with a certain black-haired citri who, feeling how close she was, clung to him in a hug and continued sleeping with a smile when she felt how the brunette hugged her. After a night of complete pleasure and happiness, the black-haired girl is waking up with a big smile on her face. When she looks around and realizes that it was her lover's room, she remembers everything that happened the day before, making her blush hard but still with a smile on her face since she had never felt as alive as she does now. While she sat on the bed and looked for her clothes, she noticed a red mark with the head of a dragon. When she saw it, she couldn't help but touch it while a smile formed on her face and great happiness invaded her. Now I'm Justy, the black-haired girl thought, very happy to be able to be with the person she loves. Later she goes back to look for her clothes, but she remembers that yesterday in the act her chestnut wet her since he was wet because he had just bathed. Then she sees a chestnut shirt on the bed and thought that her lover had left it for her while her shirt was drying. The black-haired girl puts it on, and although it was too big for her, it was perfect since it reached almost to her knees. She left the room and went to the first floor. She heard voices in the kitchen, and she went to find out who it was, but out of nowhere she felt someone hugging her from behind. "Kaya!" the black-haired woman screamed when she felt the pain, but she calmed down when she knew that it was her beloved brown hair. "You sounded so beautiful," the brunette said into the black-haired girl's ear while he hugged her. The black-haired girl blushed a lot at his words when she heard him. "You look so beautiful when you blush. Walking like that makes me want to take you back to my room and make me mine all day," the brunette said with a lustful voice while he rubbed his hand on her leg. Hearing him say those words, Subaki blushes a lot, but she also gets excited, and she felt the touch so soft and delicate that she really wanted him to take her to her room and make her his. "Unfortunately, I'm a little busy today. But don't worry, when we meet again I'll make you mine again and again until you can't take it anymore," the brunette said into her ear while giving her a light bite, making her let out a slight groan. The brunette let her go, and after kissing her, to which she did not resist, he took her to the kitchen where the others were. When the brunette arrives, he gives them all a good morning kiss and they happily accept it. Afterwards, they all see the black-haired girl again with a malicious smile that when she sees them, she blushes quite a bit since they knew what that smile was about. "It's good to have you with us, Tsubaki-san," the magician said calmly, to which the black-haired woman calmed down a little and returned the greeting. "And tell me how it was, Naya?" the Nikomata asked with a malicious smile, making the black-haired girl's color rise again. "I can only say that it was the best thing that ever happened to me," answered the black-haired woman with all the shame in the world. The other girls just smiled at the comment, while the brunette thought it was better not to say anything. They all sat down to have breakfast, but the brunette pulled the black-haired girl and sat her on his lap, making her blush, but she didn't say anything nor did she get up since she really liked being fucked by the person she loves. When the girls saw that scene, they let out a small laugh when they saw the black-haired girl so embarrassed. After that scene the days went by normally. That same morning the black-haired woman went home, but not before with a kiss from her lover, so that when her king arrived he would ask her why she was so happy, to which she only showed him the mark, making the citry heiress feel some jealousy. In those days the brunette helped Vala's wives to improve their skills. He also helped a lot to Irina, transformed into Sujiro, making her trust him a little more since she felt something strange when she was close to him. He also took care of his chain of hotels and restaurants since it managed to expand again to South America, making him really happy since he needed a lot of income for the future, and even more so when his girls went shopping since they sacrificed their wallet. He visited the Citry Academy to see how things were, making the Citry heiress happy for his visit since she always liked his presence, and his queen received him with a big kiss that left all the nobility in shock at such a scene. The girls continued with their duties. Lupe was in charge of helping the brunette with his company with some things, Kuroka and Ophis at the academy, the latter since Sona had hired her to teach history material, which she gladly accepted since she found it very fun. Yasaka helped her daughter with the duties of ruler, while she got used to the position, although she always looked at the mark on her right breast with discomfort. Subaki continued helping her dear friend at the academy, although sometimes she went to her lover's to spend the night. Everything was peace and tranquility for our chestnut, for the moment, since he knew that when Indra showed up the problems were going to come, but for the moment he wanted to enjoy the days peacefully with his loved ones. Issei-sama, while I was visiting Ravel-chan, they gave me an invitation, said the magician who was arriving at the house to tell her dear husband about this. The brunette seemed strange to him, and he received the letter that his wife gave him. She sat next to him on the couch where they were since she was also very curious. When they opened the letter, they were surprised since it was an invitation to the wedding of none other than Razor Phoenix and Rias. The magician saw her lover again since she knew that in the past he avoided this wedding, and she thought that seeing his old love would not make him feel good. The brunette noticed his wife's worried look, so he only smiled while giving her a caress on the head that the magician liked so much, and a kiss to calm her down. "Don't worry about me. I'm fine. The feeling I once had for her is now just a memory of my past, and the only important thing for me is you, and you are my present and my future," said the brunette with a smile of understanding and love. When the magician heard those words from her beloved, a tear of happiness ran down her beautiful eyes before she launched herself to hug and kiss the love of her life for those beautiful words. "It seems like this wedding will be very entertaining," the brunette thought in a funny way before starting to kiss the magician with love. When she feels that love, she intensifies the kisses more than love. They turn to passion, and from passion to lust, and from one moment to the next, we can see the couple kissing with desire and lust. The brunette kissed the magician, while his hands ran over every part of her body, making her let out light moans, while the magician was taking off the brunette's shirt, and from one moment to the next we can see how in the living room of the house a brunette sitting on the sofa without a shirt, while he had his beloved wife on his legs while he sucked and bit her nipples, making her let out small moans of pleasure. And they continued like this for a while until the magician couldn't take it anymore. The brunette, seeing her like this, only smiled at how pretty his wife looked. He really felt very lucky to have a woman like Le Fay by his side. "How about we continue this in our room?" the brunette said in the magician's ear before taking a small bite, to which the magician let out a slight moan and nodded her head as she wanted to continue until she couldn't take it anymore. The brunette picks her up and takes her to his special room to continue with their act of love, where the other girls later joined them. Even Subaki arrived and they followed her actor until the next day, where each one ended with a big smile full of satisfaction. The days passed and the long-awaited moment arrived, Rias Gremory's big wedding. The brunette was waiting for his lovers at the bottom. After a while, the girls came down, leaving the brunette in shock since they looked beautiful in the dresses they were wearing. The girls blushed at the brunette's words, although after they saw him they blushed even more since he looked really handsome and sexy the way he was dressed. "They look beautiful." It was the only thing the brunette said when he saw how beautiful his beautiful girls looked. When the girls heard it, they blushed a lot while a smile formed on their beautiful faces. "We're leaving," the brunette said again calmly after coming to his senses. The girls nodded after coming to their senses to leave with their beloved brunette, who changed shape so that no one would recognize him. "Let's have fun tonight," the blonde finished saying before disappearing into a magic circle with his beloved girls. Underworld, Gremry Castle. In the Gremry family castle, a great celebration was taking place for the great wedding of the Gremry heiress, Rias Gremry, along with the third son of the Phoenix House, Rias Phoenix. The atmosphere was quite happy. Many people had come for this great event. Zenobia and Asia along with their respective boyfriends, Kaneko and Kunu with her husband who already got along better since the brunette did not visit them again, Kiba and his fiancée Tasuka, Akino and her fiancé, Kazdan, Rose Weiss with her husband, Gasper with his wife Valeria. 15. There were also some heirs along with the leaders of their houses such as Agars, Baal, Citri, Barbados and some others. There were 3 of the 4 Masajuka, Surzek, along with his queen Grafia and Serafall, although the latter had a sad look. Vala was also there along with his wives. Irina, who was talking to Ravel since they made good friends again. Subaki was with the heiress Citri and her entire entourage waiting for her groom. She was wearing a beautiful dress that left her shoulders exposed and her sexy legs attracting the attention of several of the boys present, but also showing a red mark with the head of a dragon on her left leg, to which everyone who saw her wondered what it was that brand. Everyone was in their respective places for the wedding to begin. "How happy I am that Rias-sama is getting married, although for some reason I feel uncomfortable," Asia said with a smile on her face. "I hope they are very happy," Zenivia commented with the same smile. "Although I also feel something similar to you, Asia, as if this had happened before," Akino said while trying to remember. "I also think I'm forgetting something," Kaneko commented this time. "It's no wonder they feel that way." A voice was heard behind them, and when they turned around it was Ravel who was next to Irina. "What do you mean, Ravel?" Akino asked with great curiosity. "They feel this way because this same scenario had already occurred in the past when Rias and my brother were going to get married and Issei-sama came to prevent it," Ravel said in a serious manner, leaving the Gremry girls in shock since she was right. "Not curious," Irina said this time, drawing the girls' attention. "Even though I wasn't there at the time, it's ironic since after everything Issei-kun did things ended this way," the brunette continued calmly but with some sadness in her voice. The Gremry girls, after hearing the name of that man they loved so much, lowered their heads and said nothing else. But a sound attracted the attention of everyone in the room as they felt a very powerful aura coming in. Everyone looked back to be surprised as a certain blonde was entering in all his splendor with 4 beautiful women. The men who were in the place could not take their eyes off the girls who came with the blonde since they were simply beautiful minds. While the girls saw the blonde with a big blush on his face while they devoured him with their gaze since he looked too handsome and sexy in the girls' words. And that was no exception for the Gremry group who saw him with a big blush. Even Irina and Ravel couldn't help but blush since they had to admit that he was very handsome and sexy, but since he was dressed today it was impossible not to see. There was even a moment they saw him with lust. This left more than a few speechless, and those who were at the wedding were surprised since before there were only 2 girls accompanying the blonde but now there were 4. But they were even more surprised to know who the other 2 were since they never thought that the beautiful former leader of the U guys and the sexy Nakamata were with the blonde. Seeing what was coming, Subaki asked Sona for permission since despite everything she is still her king, to which she gave a sigh and left her beloved boyfriend outside. When the blonde saw the black-haired Citri go to where he could only smile, while a small blush rose to his face since his beautiful girlfriend looked beautiful. "You look beautiful," the blonde said, to which the black-haired woman blushed but smiled happily since she had gotten ready just for him. "Thank you, you look very handsome too," the black-haired woman commented with a big blush since her boyfriend looked extremely handsome. Everyone was surprised when they saw the interaction between Queen Citri and the newcomer, but everyone was shocked when they saw Queen Citri kiss the blonde. That was too shocking for everyone since the blonde did not come with a picture of beautiful women but with 5. But when they separated they saw that Queen Citri greeted the girls who came with the blonde, but that was where they could notice that all of them had the same mark that Queen Citri had on her left leg, and with that they came to the conclusion that the blonde had a relationship with the 5 girls. This left more than one surprised, while others were dying of jealousy since there was Kuroka, one of the most coveted women in the underworld, and surprised because there was also the former leader of the yokais Yasaka who was extremely beautiful, that without leaving the dragon and the magician who were extremely beautiful. The blonde ignored all the glances, mainly those of the Gremry group, who saw him with a certain distrust, except for Ravel, who was calm, although inside she was somewhat jealous of not being her, but she did not realize that, and Irina, who was calm. So the other person they mentioned was Subaki-san. The brunette whispered, although everyone could hear her. "What do you mean by the other person?" asked Blonde Phoenix with great curiosity. "Well, I get along very well with them, and once we were talking about a certain topic that they told me that Sujiro-san was forming another relationship, but they didn't want to tell me who it was with," the brunette informed, to which everyone was surprised. "Irina, you already knew that he had 4 girlfriends and that he was a couple?" Akino asked with great surprise. "Well, technically it's a wife, a fiancé, copyright, and 3 girlfriends," the brunette answered, downplaying the topic. This surprised all the Gremry girls since they did not know that the brunette spoke with the blonde girls, and although they used to talk to each other now they don't because they never see each other. Or that was what the Gremry group thought, since the reality was that the blonde girls didn't care about them in the slightest. The blonde, due to his enhanced senses, was able to hear the Gremry's conversation, but he downplayed it, and when he saw that the girls had finished greeting each other they went to sit in their respective places all around his beloved. After a while, when everything calmed down, the wedding began, where the groom first appeared at the altar, and after a few minutes Rias appeared in her wedding dress. The blonde girls stared at their loved one to see if he was okay, since they knew about his past, but they calmed down when they saw that he gave them a calm smile telling them that he was perfectly fine. And in fact it was like that. He didn't know why, but he didn't feel hatred or jealousy when he saw the person he once loved so much and gave his life for marry someone else. That's where he realized that he didn't like her. It didn't matter what Rias did. The blonde thought that it was probably because of the way they forgot him, since they forgot him so quickly, that he did too. But he wondered how he forgot her so quickly, and that was where he was surprised by the conclusion he came to, since he realized that he never really loved Rias, that the only thing he felt for her was an obsession and gratitude for saving him from the dead woman. Since he never felt that comfort and that love that he feels when he is with his girls, that calm feeling that they give him when they are by his side, and that love that he feels for grows more and more as time goes by. When he realized that truth, he could only smile because he realized how naive and immature he was in the step, although now he was grateful that things turned out that way and he was able to be with people that he really loves and values with all his heart. Rias, who was at the altar, could see the blonde smile for a moment as he looked at her. But for some strange reason, when she saw him, she felt a strong pain in her chest, as if she had already completely lost something. The wedding continued normally, although Rias was somewhat uncomfortable as the ceremony ended and everyone went into the living room to congratulate the bride and groom. Rias Wani-sama, congratulations. Asia congratulated with a smile on her face. "I hope you are very happy, Rias," Akino said this time. The girls were congratulating Rias while their boyfriend/fiancé copyright/husbands were congratulating Razor. The Citri group was also there along with some young demons, wishing them many congratulations. At that moment the blonde approaches with his girls, who couldn't help but attract attention since the girls looked beautiful and sexy, while the blonde looked handsome and sexy. "Miss Gremry, I appear before you to wish you a happy marriage and that you have a life full of happiness," the blonde said with a smile. But for some reason the redhead's chest was hurting a lot when she saw that smile. She didn't know why those words hurt her so much, and she didn't understand why that smile gave her a feeling of abandonment and loneliness, as if she had already lost something that she could no longer recover definitively. "Thank you very much, Mr. Pendragon," the redhead said with a forced smile that did not go unnoticed by the blonde and his girls. Training their senses helped them a lot, mainly for Kuroka and Yasaka, who were able to feel all the tornado of feelings that the redhead felt in her. That moment, they both looked at each other and smiled mischievously. They immediately stood on either side of the blonde. They hugged him, making the redhead's smile become more forced for some reason. "I wish you to be happy with your husband, Naya, just as we will be happy with our future husband, Naya," the Nikomata said with a smile before kissing the blonde, ensuring that the forced smile was noticed by everyone present who was around. The blonde's girls were very curious about the actions of the two you guys, but later with their senses, they were able to perceive jealousy, sadness, confusion, and many other feelings in the redhead, and they realized that Rias, even though she doesn't know who she is in front of you as the person you once loved and gave your life for. Your heart does know. The girls had a mischievous smile when they saw the actions of the two you guys, but decided not to do anything since they did not know how long the redhead could last before she broke. Thank you, Kuroka. I appreciate it very much, and also that you are very happy with your future husband, the redhead said as best she could since she did not want to pronounce the last words. I wish you the best in your marriage and that you have a happy life together, said this time the kitsune, who also kissed the blonde, making the redhead unable to smile anymore. Thank you, Yasaka-sama. I appreciate it very much, the redhead said courteously, although her face did not express that happiness it had before. The girls who were around did not know what to do since they are only giving their congratulations, but for some reason those congratulations expressed something else. The Gremry group was totally silent, they didn't know why, but it bothered them quite a bit to see the two you guys hugging and kissing the blonde. Ravel and Irina were simply watching the events, although for some reason they felt a little jealous when they saw how they kissed the blonde. Kuno and Kaneko felt that pain in their hearts again when they saw how their sister/mother kisses the blonde. It had been a while since they had not seen the blonde in a long time, but seeing him now here and kissing with his sister/mother, that pain appeared again, but this time stronger. Mother, please don't do that, said the younger kitsune, trying to get her mother to move away from the blonde a little, although what she really wanted was for her to stay away from the blonde completely. What's up, daughter? I'm just expressing my congratulations while I show my boyfriend how much I love him, said the kitsune as she hugged the blonde more and kissed him again. The Gremry group, upon seeing this, had a twitch in their eyes since they didn't like it. Not at all the feeling of seeing them kiss. 21. The blonde saw that the redhead couldn't take it anymore, so he retired with his girls to their respective table after his girls wished him congratulations, although the redhead didn't like the smiles they all had at all. After calming down, the party began, starting with the couple's dance, then the couple exchanged with different partners. The blonde was watching the dance and an idea occurred to him. I'm coming, girls, I'm going to go say goodbye to Rias, said blonde, to which everyone didn't understand what he meant, but then they heard that it was the last dance and they understood what he meant. Note, when I say blonde girls, these are Lefei, Olphus, Kuroka, Yasaka, and Subaki, for now. While Rias was dancing with her cousin, he spun around and ended up in the arms of another man. But when she felt that hug, her heart began to beat rapidly as she recognized that same feeling of warmth and protection that they provided, of course. He immediately began to remember all the good times he had spent with the person who gave him such quality sensations with his aura. She was so immersed in her memories and sensations that she did not realize who she was, nor did she realize that she dancing with her eyes closed, since she simply wanted to continue feeling that warmth and affection that she felt when her beloved brunette hugged her. The blonde girls watched as the redhead dances with her lover, but instead of feeling jealous, they were smiling. Even Subaki, all of them had a calm smile that made them look more beautiful than they already are. That was because her lover was giving the redhead a reminder of what she had lost. He was making her feel the love and affection he once had for her. He was giving her the last and best dance of her life. And why they were smiling was because they could feel that love and affection that came from their beloved, but they smiled even more since all that love was not for the redhead but for them. The blonde was only making the redhead feel only a part of that love and affection through his aura, since all those feelings were only for his girls, that when they felt it they smiled because they felt how that aura completely surrounded them, intoxicating them with love. When the song finished, the redhead opened her eyes, immediately returned to reality, and was surprised by the person she was dancing with. You was the only thing she said in disbelief that the blonde could make her feel that way. He looked back at her with a smile. This dance represented the last one for both of us, the blonde said in the ear of the redhead, who didn't understand what he meant. But as soon as he said that, he went to where the girls he loved so much were. The girls from the Gremry group along with Kunu, Ravel and Irina were watching the blonde a moment ago dance with the redhead and were surprised because they could feel the affection and love that the blonde gave off. It was as if they themselves were the ones who were burned. For those arms that made them feel calm and protected but also loved. Note, Ross is not included in the Gremry group. I have a different scenario for her. But what they didn't realize is that the blonde sent a small aura so that they also felt what Rias was feeling at that moment, since he wanted them to overcome or rather feel what she was feeling, since that was the last feeling they felt. They were going to have him except for a certain blonde phoenix and a certain brunette who did it so that they would remember that feeling and make them understand that their loved one was still alive, and they did not realize that the blonde's aura was surrounding them. When Irina and Ravel felt that sensation, a tear ran down their cheeks. They remembered when the brunette hugged them to take care of them or protect them. They also felt the love that he transmitted to both of them with just a hug or a smile. They secretly smiled while their hearts beat rapidly as they remembered those moments so special to them. They simply let themselves be enveloped by that warm and calm feeling that was full of love until the song stopped. On the part of the Gremry group, along with Kunu, they felt great joy and peace when remembering and feeling that same sensation that came from being next to their beloved chestnut. But then they saw their boyfriend/fiancé copyright/husbands who were at their sides, and their chests began to it hurt them a lot to know that they had forgotten the person who had loved them and had given so much for them, and they simply changed it. That was where they realized the words that everyone had once said to them in different conversations. Memory. What happens if Issei-kun comes back? Yasaka said to her daughters, Kunu, Kaneko. What will he say when he comes back and finds that you are with someone? Sona told her friends Akino. What happened to the feelings they had for Hayata Issei? Griselda asked the reincarnated angels, Asia, Zenobia. End of memory. When remembering those conversations, a pain invaded the chest of each of them, and they asked themselves, I will be able to face Issei-sen/kun/senpai if I see him again and be able to be with him. They all thought at the same time, since they once swore eternal love for him, but after that incident they simply forgot about it. Him and continued their lives. On the other hand, the blonde arrived where his girls were, and they received him with a smile and a kiss since they were still surrounded by the blonde's aura. The party continued normally, although a certain redhead along with her entourage had to make a fake smile since after the dance her mood was not very good. The girls went to greet different people, as in the case of Kuroka, who went to see how her sister was and talk a little. Yasaka went to greet the mouse, but when she saw Serafall, who gave her a fake smile, she was going to ask what had happened to her, but she remembered why, and better she went to talk to her daughter since her lover had said that he was going to do something to cheer her up. Lupe went to talk to Irina and Ravel since the three of them were happy to see her become so close again, with the exception of Ophis, who stayed with her lover since she really doesn't care about the party, nor any of those who were there, only the girls she is always with and her beloved fiancé Copyright and Subaki. He went to his king to talk to her since she was alone. Issei took advantage of the moment and was talking to Ophis. In some moments they laughed. In others they kissed, and in some cases they got lost in each other's gaze. This was what Ophis liked so much. That feeling of affection when she talks to him. That love when he kisses her, and that feeling of tranquility and warmth along with that immense love that comes from his gaze when he sees her. The feeling was so great that she didn't know what to do, but one thing was certain, she was never going to leave the man in front of her since she was completely in love. No. She was madly in love with this person who had given her and demonstrated so much in life, and she, not knowing what to do, simply decided to always be by his side for all eternity. This scene was seen by the Gremry group, including Kunu and Kaneko, who were talking to their sister/mother, making them very jealous. On the part of the blonde girls, they only smiled, and each of them had their intimate moment with their loved ones, so they did not get upset, nor did they get jealous to see that scene, they simply smiled. After that talk, Lupe, along with Irina and Ravel, took Kurumi, Ophis, away. The blonde, seeing this, took advantage and went to greet his old friends. He found Kiba talking to his girlfriend, so he decided to go greet him. At first the blonde Gremry was on guard in case he tried to do something since he didn't trust him, but then he relaxed a little since after talking to him for a while he somehow felt comfortable since he seemed like a good guy, calm, friendly, and they had many things in common besides that the blonde touched on topics that the blonde Gremry was interested in. They talked about different topics, plus the blonde Gremry introduced him to his fiancée Copyright, since they were thinking of getting married. The blonde congratulated them, and after talking with the happy couple for a while he went to look for someone else. And after a while he found him in a corner with his girlfriend. He smiled a little as he could see his friend Gasper was already more mature. but it was also evident that he still couldn't get over being in a lot of people. The blonde approached slowly so as not to scare the vampire and his girlfriend. Note, Gasper, and I know he is a vampire, but in the novel they call him Vampire along with Valeria. Please correct me if I am wrong in this part. When the vampire sees the blonde, he gets scared because he still remembers how powerful he is with what happened at his friend Kaniko's wedding. The blonde greets the vampire couple, but the two of them tend something that the blonde realizes, so he walks away a little and tries to talk to them again with a smile. When they see the blonde smile, they relax a little and return the greeting. The blonde, upon seeing this, smiles internally since he knew that both vampires are very distrustful of strangers. Both because of the things they have experienced, such as the discrimination of their race. Once this step has been taken, the blonde begins to talk calmly with the pair of vampires, to which they calm down as the conversation goes on since they saw that he was not as bad as they thought. After a while the vampire tells her that he was going to marry her although he wants to follow in his senpai's footsteps, which causes a smile from the blonde and a pinch from Valeria. Seeing this, the blonde realizes that she didn't want to share it with anyone, or at least for now. A little later he said goodbye to both of them with a smile, to which they returned it as he left. The blonde walked and was able to locate his girls talking to other people, but his gaze passed by a girl who was sitting away from everyone with a sad expression. She was the mouse Serafall Leviathan. Seeing her in that state, the blonde's chest began to hurt at that moment, and he decided that it was time to cheer her up, although he regretted not being able to tell her who he was, at least for now. He walked until he was close to her, and raised his aura a little to make himself noticed, to which the Mao immediately turned to see who it was and immediately put herself on guard. When the blonde saw her, he was surprised and wondered if everyone saw him as an enemy or something like that, since all the people had their guard up when he was or passed by him. "Oh, calm down. I just want to chat a little," the blonde said, raising his hands as a sign to calm down. The pig-tailed Mao looked closely at him and noticed 2 glasses of champagne in his hands, which she came to the conclusion that he didn't come with bad intentions, but she still didn't let her guard down. "Thank you, but at that moment I want to be alone," the mouse said politely, but the blonde could feel the loneliness and sadness in those words. "I know it's not my concern, but I see that something keeps you sad. May I know why?" the blonde asked as he got a little closer to her, although he already knew why she was sad. "Thank you for your concern, but I'm fine, so please I would like to be alone," the mouse said without looking at his face. The blonde sighed. He knew it was going to be difficult, but he didn't think so much. He thought it was safe with what had happened to him. To him she closed herself off from people for fear of losing them. "Surely we're starting off on the wrong foot. Maybe you already know who I am, but I'll introduce myself to Sujiro Pendragon," the blonde said politely, but the mouse simply ignored him. She wasn't in the mood to deal with anyone. She came to the party today just out of respect for the Gremry family. The blonde wasn't bothered since he knew something like this was going to happen, so he thought of a way she can talk to cheer her up a little. "You know, I've heard a lot about you from Sona-san," said the blonde, to which the Mao at that moment turned her ear to better hear what the blonde was saying. Issei realized this and a smile appeared on his face. "Lately I've been going to the Citri Academy a lot to talk about different topics with her," the blonde said again while smiling as he saw that the Mao was paying attention. "From there she has told me a lot about her beloved sister," said the blonde, to which the Mao turned to look at him since she had her back to him. "Oh, really?" asked the Mao, very interested since despite everything, her beloved Soten always made her happy with her presence, and that she would talk about her with someone, logically, she would be interested. "Of course, because I would lie to you, you could ask her since we are good friends," the blonde answered with a smile. At that moment the Mao lowered her guard a little when she heard that he is a friend of her beloved sister, and the blonde was able to realize it. "He told me that lately you're not yourself anymore. That's why I wanted to come and talk to you a little if you don't mind," the blonde commented calmly, to which she only stretched out her hand like that. The blonde smiled at that and handed her the glass of champagne he had for her, and sat down next to her. "Where do you know Sultan?" the Mao asked calmly, but the blonde could perceive a little happiness in her words. "Well, I don't know if you knew, but I'm the boyfriend of your queen Subaki," the blonde answered, surprising the Mao since she hadn't paid attention to everything that had happened at the entrance. "Oh really?" she asked with doubt since she couldn't believe it. She knew that her Soten queen was in love with the blonde Gremory, but then she realized that he broke her heart, so she thought that she would surely not be with anyone again, at least in a while. I imagine it's hard to believe because of Yudo-san, right? Said the blonde, which surprised the MAU by reading his thoughts. I don't know if you know, but Kuroka is one of my dear girlfriends. As you may already know, she works at the academy, so one time she asked me if I could help Sona-san with the problem she had, to which I clearly agreed. I accepted and became a partner with her, said the blonde, to which the Mao was looking at him with wide eyes since his Soten had told him that he would surely have to close the academy due to various problems, mainly financial. At that moment she felt helpless for not being able to help her dear sister, since being a Mao had certain restrictions, and seeing how selfish people destroyed her dream was destroying her. But one day she arrived very happy because she told her that someone had helped her, and now things were improving little by little. That really made her extremely happy, and she thanked the person who gave her a hand when no one wanted to. Now he was in front of that person who had helped him, and the worst thing was that he acted so cold towards the only person who helped his dear sister. Don't worry, you don't have to say anything, I understand. You didn't know that, so you don't have to apologize, the blonde came forward to say, since he saw how the Mao lowered her guard when she knew that detail, since she knew that whoever helped her sister was like if they were helping her. The pigtailed Mao was embarrassed to be discovered so easily. The blonde just smiled when he saw her act like that and thought about how cute she looked. After I became a partner, I was also a very good friend of her as well as of Suchin, and then one thing came to another, and we ended up dating, the blonde said with a calm smile. The Mao only laughed lightly at the very little detailed explanation, so it seemed a little funny to her how the blonde acted, making her let out small giggles, to which the blonde, upon seeing her, could only smile internally while delighting in how beautiful the Mao looked with a smile, since despite the years she is still just as beautiful, even more beautiful than before. The Mao realized that the blonde was looking at her. When she saw him again, she could see the blonde giving her a warm look with a sincere smile. The pig-tailed Mao, upon seeing that expression, her face blushed, and that surprised her, like someone like him with a simple glance could make her blush so much. The blonde and the Mao were talking calmly, making the two of them laugh on some occasions. The Mao little by little began to trust him a little more, and she felt happy for years since she had not felt so happy since that moment. Remembering that moment, the Mao became depressed again, to which the blonde immediately realized why, since it was quite obvious. You know, I knew Issei, the blonde said, to which the male immediately looked at him again with surprise. I met him a long time ago. In fact, we became very good friends, the blonde continued, to which the pig-tailed male became even more depressed when she remembered him, which the blonde realized. You know, you shouldn't get like that, said the blonde, drawing the attention of the Mao with pigtails. You know him too, and you should know that he wouldn't like to see you like this, the blonde said, to which the Mao was surprised by his words. He would like to see you smile and be yourself. He would like to see that wonderful woman that you are the same happy and pampered girl that he likes so much, said the blonde with a smile, while the pigtailed Mao couldn't help but be surprised by his words, since at that moment she remembered again what he had told her when he went to save her. Memory. You know what I think that you are a wonderful woman with your way of being so active, happy and pampered. I think that any man would love to have a woman like that so that he can pamper her as much as he wants while he observes how beautiful you are. Seeing those beautiful violet eyes, the brunette Mao told him while he caressed her cheek lovingly. End of memory. Issei. Serafall said as she remembered those words, and a smile formed on her face. Besides, I don't think that when he comes for you he would like to find that Serafall who is so cheerful and lively and not a sad and depressed Serafall. Don't you think so? The blonde said with a smile, to which the Mao got a lump in her throat. For hearing that, you really think he's coming for me? The pig-tailed Mao asked in a tone of supplication and hope, causing a lump to form in the blonde's throat. I don't think so, that's for sure, said the blonde, to which a smile adorned the Mao's beautiful face. Would you like to dance with me? The blonde asked as he extended a hand in her direction, as he wanted to distract the Mao and give her a little fun. The Mao was surprised when she heard him, but after thinking about it for a moment she had no reason to say no, since he was so good to her, and she could trust him since he helped her beloved sister. She couldn't find something to refuse. I would love to, the Mao confirmed with a smile on her face. The Mao took the blonde's hand and he smiled. He took the beautiful Mao to the center of the floor, and they began to dance under the gaze of everyone present. The guests were surprised and delighted to see that scene. Surprised to see the Mao dancing with a smile on her face and delighted to see the couple dancing, since the dance they were expressing was a very fine but calm dance with fluid movements, making the guests were mesmerized by the beautiful dance they were witnessing. It was so much that the people who were also dancing stopped and watched the wonderful dance. Although some people had different thoughts. The Grimmers who were watching that scene had pain in their chest, while they were invaded with jealousy and anger. They only wanted no one to get close to the blonde, but that was not the case, since every moment he spent with one of his girls making they would like to go and claim him. Rose Weiss was with her husband, and while she was watching that beautiful dance, her heart began to beat, and her gaze looked at that scene with great longing, as if she wanted to be the one who was performing that dance but with another person. Her husband, who was next to her, could see that expression of longing in her eyes, and several times she had that expression as if she wanted someone to be here, or rather, as if someone was coming for her, but she didn't know what it was or who it was. He could only smile, since he knew what that longing look meant, or rather he knew who that longing look was meant for, but despite knowing it he never got angry or complained to her, since he knew that she didn't. He realized Ravel and Irina were appreciating that beautiful moment, since no one could deny that the dance they are watching had no other word than beautiful. Although for some reason the blonde phoenix and the brunette thought they saw their beloved brunette instead of the blonde who was dancing with the pig-tailed Mao. On Sona's part, she was very happy and thanked the blonde because she was able to see her sister again as she is. She mentally thanked him. The other blonde girls saw that with a big smile, since they could see a beautiful dance, but what had them with that smile was seeing Serafall with that smile so happy and full of life again, since they all knew that she had not smiled that way since he lost Issei. He is really amazing, said the kitsune, happy that her dear friend Serafall regained her smile. Even without him revealing himself to her, he can make her smile again, the kitsune said again, to which the others nodded. It was good to know Naya, since he returned he has always been tormented by the state of Serafall and Gabriel. Naya, said the Nikomata, to which everyone agreed. By the way, does anyone know how Penemu continued on the subject? I haven't seen her again, asked the worried kitsune of her friend. I talked to Irina-san about that recently. She told me that she has been a little sad since lately she has longed the feeling she felt back then, the magician answered calmly. I don't think I can find it in another man, Naya, since he is the only one capable of transmitting that feeling of tranquility and protection with just a hug, Naya, commented the Nikomata. Penemu was confusing since no man has ever made her feel protected or loved, since because she is a fella and her way of seducing men they think that she already has experience in that field, commented the dragon without taking her eyes off of the dance, while that comment caught the attention of the other girls. They approach her without knowing that she is inexperienced when it comes to this topic, and her seductive way of being is only a mask to hide. For that same reason she is confused, since he was able to get through that chew and see who she really is and give her those that she longed for so much, but that was also unknown to her. The dragon finished saying calmly, "Love and protection," said the magician. Understanding what she meant, the dragon only nodded in confirmation. The other girls were surprised. They had never noticed that detail in their friend's fall. How do you know all that? The kitsune asked, quite interested since she had not realized that. That's because she's like me, the dragon answered with a calm smile, but the others still didn't understand. At first I also felt confused since he gave me something that I didn't know about, but he saw in me that I unconsciously longed for that, said the dragon, looking at the other girls again. He gave me love, the dragon said with a smile full of love that she directed at her beloved Fianca copyright. The girls were surprised by what they had just heard. She thinks she is confused because they have given her what she wanted so much, whether consciously or unconsciously. Unfortunately, that is something that only she can solve, since it is something that she has to decide whether to accept that which is unknown to her, or put that feeling aside and continue her life as it is now. Of course, the girls were just hoping that they could accept that, otherwise she will live a life without love. At the dance we can see the Mao with pigtails with a big smile as she dances with the blonde, while he gave her a smile. The song ended and the couple stopped, and at the end of the dance the applause was immediate, making the Mao embarrassed and the blonde smiling because of it. You look really cute that way, and even more so when you smile, so please always remember to be yourself, since you don't know when he will come for you. He may even be watching you already," said the blonde in the girl's ear. Mao making her surprised to hear that, but when she was going to ask, the blonde begins to walk away, and when she was going to follow him she sees someone hug her and realizes that it is her sister, to which she happily hugs him back. The mouse sees the blonde a little away from her, and is surprised to see that he turns around a little and winks at her while giving her a smile. Seeing that, the mouse's heart began to beat rapidly while she blushed, although she could occupy it due to her sister's hug. She wondered what that feeling was that she felt. The blonde arrived where his beloved girls were with a smile, who welcomed him with a kiss full of love. "It seems that everything turned out well for you," the kitten said with a smile, to which the blonde gave her a smile. "Although for a while I thought about telling her who she really was, in the end I didn't do it, since this was not the place, nor was it the time for her to know," the blonde said calmly. That's it, guys. Thanks for listening to my video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and comment below your favorite part. Sayonara, see you in the next video.